All right, we are live. Welcome to Deconstructing Patriarchy. We are really looking at the ideology behind what has built the current system of what we are living in, both externally and internally. This is not about blaming men or shaming men in any way, shape, or form. It is about actually identifying how men are also suffering under this system and helping them as well as women and anybody else however you identify. All right, so let me just check. I want to make sure that this is actually live. So let me do a quick check here. YouTube Studio. Yep, it looks like we are live. Boop, boop, boop. So we do not have Paige today, so I'm super sad that she's not able to join us, but I think this is going to be okay because we have so much to go through, you all. I started watching that video weeks ago when I decided to do this, right? Like the 29th, I think. Oh no, 29th. It's not a leap year. Holly, the 1st of March, and now we're at the 12th. I've been pushing this back ever since. So yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of notes, and I didn't even get to finish that last like 5-minute segment inside of the Oval Office where the Darvo really starts showing up. But that was the scene that got played the most. And Zelensky, is getting attacked over and over and over again, saying he didn't say thank you. And if you go back and watch the beginning, he actually was very thankful. So we are in this session here going to actually start with some body language education, some emotional intelligence of the nonverbal energetic world. Body language is contagious. That means energy is contagious. And I want to show you that education first before we actually go into the Oval Office and start to watch that. So you'll probably, as most of my videos I encourage you to do, want to go back and rewatch this multiple times so that you can get better and better and better at identifying this. And the other trick is, thanks to YouTube nowadays and most things that we can play videos on, you can slow stuff down and watch it in a quarter time, a half time, 0.75% time, right? That's what we're going to do, especially when we get to the end, so we can really see the body language that is on display here. All right. Then from there, we're going to go into some cult language tactics of what love bombing is, what gaslighting is, what is Darvo, what is blame shifting, and what is the us versus them mentality, because those are also going to be super important for you to know as we walk into the Oval Office together to watch this video. And then we'll go into about the first, it starts like 6.5 minutes in, and I got through about 22.5 minutes. And then we'll fast forward to the end. So we'll see. I might like rewind the video and play it multiple times just so you can see what I'm seeing. Yes, I am trained as a body language coach with the science of body, science of people with Vanessa Van Edwards. I got my license or my coaching certificate, it's not a license, back in 2019. I was adamant about developing classes, especially for the ecstatic dance world, because that is a nonverbal world where people are coming in off the streets, not using words anymore, and all of a sudden having to remember their nonverbal language skills, which most of us have forgotten by the time we've left school. And I have a stat for that, or left school. So body language just fascinates me because it is this superpower, secret hidden language that we can really tune into, especially with narcissists. And so I'm going to point all of that out. I haven't used my body language education and coaching that much in the last few years. So it is slowly coming back to me, and I'm excited to get into this work a little bit more and maybe do more of this here on YouTube for you all if you're interested. So let me know. And yes, I want to start, as I do, with a somatic exercise, because if you've watched any of my other lives, well, let me say this first, 5 minutes in now almost. Thank you so much if you are becoming a regular on the channel. We are growing, and that is super exciting, but I need your help to continue to help this channel grow. So if you like this material, if you think it's going to be helpful for us and the future generations, please make sure you are just doing a little bit of part, which is liking, subscribing and sharing. And then when the lives pop up, make sure you hit the notify me button, because that makes the algorithm tune into this education more and more and more and pushes it out more and more and more. So yeah, share it with your friends, your like-minded friends, or those friends that might be on the fence and looking for something. There's so much more I have planned as we continue to grow and hopefully here get monetized, letting patriarchy help us to deconstruct the ideology behind it by getting monetized on YouTube. So that is a goal of mine to happen hopefully within the next 6 months. I am over halfway there with subscribers, but a far way away from that with the watch hours that I need. I need 4,000 watch hours, and I think I'm at about 350 watch hours. So if you can, just let these play in the background. So that'll help drive the algorithm and help me get those watch hours. And it'll get into your subconscious more and more and more, because I cannot tell you that even as I'm putting this together and working with it over and over and over again, it's getting into my subconscious more. And I have never been quick at anything. But this last weekend, I had 2 things happen to me where I was able to call their shit out immediately and be like, nope, that is a F no for me. If you know that term, it's either an F yes or an F no. That is an absolute F no for me. Cut that energy off. I am not going to let you gatekeep me, white woman. I am not going to let you spiritually bypass your work, man. I am here to call you on your S. And I can do that because I am in this education with you just as much as I'm producing it. So that's a little bit about what we're about. If you are new, make sure you go and bookmark. Make sure you go and bookmark season 1, Foundations of Deconstructing Patriarchy, History, and Myth. That is, again, the foundation of this work. It's setting you up to understand how we got here, that 50,000-foot vision. I know season 2 will be all about cognitive biases. And then season 3, I cannot remember, but I know I've already kind of started to map it out. So again, lots going on. The other thing you might want to make yourself aware, well, 2 more things actually, is I'm active over on Substack. I have most of the education over there free. And then I'm also starting to release The Sacred Tryst, which is my first historical fiction book, which will be a series, perhaps with some sequels in it. And it's taking all of these principles of deconstructing patriarchy, deconstructing that ideology, and putting it into practice. I'm rewriting the story of the Christ, making Mary Magdalene the Christ, teaching Jesus everything he needs to know for his ministry, and giving us a wider vision of history through a new creation story. So if you want access to that, it will be a subscription-based paid level, but it's simply $5 a month, so less than a coffee these days, $50 a year, or if you want to be even more generous, if you have the income, then that's $111 for an investor level, so like that founding member level. And I struggle with that because it is a little bit of a hierarchy, right? And it gives certain people privilege. So I'm trying, again, to keep everything as much free, making YouTube really the center of this work so I can help get monetized here. And then Substack is really like, if you can and you want to support this work, then you can in that way. All right. The third thing is TikTok. I'm super active over there as well. And I post little things like the subtle ways patriarchy shows up in your life. So just more little TikTok appropriate shorts type of stuff. I do post a lot of that here on YouTube as well, but it doesn't do as well here. So I just like TikTok. It's fun over there. Okay. So if you join me for any of my other lives, we always start with some type of a somatic tool. And if you're not familiar with somatic, it just simply means of the body. It's a soma, of the body, and being in tune and aware of the body. Somatic exercises help to reset the nervous system. We are constantly receiving and giving off energy and signals and body language and nonverbal cues. We're receiving, the car alarm, the phone alarm, the microwave, all these different sounds are coming into our system, as well as what we're about to watch can be super triggering, especially for people like me who are coming out of abusive, dark personality type relationships. It doesn't just have to be an intimate relationship. It can be in a cult. It can be in a religious area, which is often becoming like a cult these days. And I will note, ADHD moment, be talking about that in episode 7, which will get released probably next month. We're going to talk about how fundamentalism came into being and why. Anyways, we're going to talk about that. I'm not going to get into it now. So where was I? Yes, somatic. We are going to do an exercise to help just calm the body down from all of the signals and energy we've been receiving already. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make a little this and you're just going to hit right in like that nub of your chest, and that's actually where your vagus nerve is. And if you just hit that, you can hit as hard as you want or as soft as you want. You can soften your eyes, but even see, it just helps adjust the breathing. It kind of brings, not kind of, it does bring you back into your own body, helps to reset that nervous system. It lets you know that you're here, present, and now. And it just calms everything down. So if you start to feel triggered, oh, that's what I was talking about. See, ADHD. If you start to feel triggered from sitting in this Oval Office, watching a scenario of being in a relationship like this, where you were dealing with the dark personality, then this is your exercise for today. If you know the somatic shake, which we've done a couple times, that's also a good one. I'm not going to go into that yet. And then the other one is just bringing presence with your own physical touch, squeezing, loving on yourself as much as possible, right? Whew. Yeah. So giving yourself a hug. You can put one under your armpit and one across, and then switch that up. And just breathing. So you might see me do these throughout the lesson here. But yeah, just wanted to make sure you have those tools. If you're watching this back on replay, make sure you're hitting that like button, please. Make sure you're hitting subscribe, sharing it out with your friends. That helps the algorithm to get us out there and get more people in this education with us and in this pocket with us. All right. Oh, see, just even a few moments of that and your nervous system can relax. So a little note about that is if you haven't done a lot of, let's say like more yin or yang yoga or meditation, sometimes it's really hard, especially for people that haven't done a lot of somatic work of any kind, or have ADHD or some kind of like anxiety. It's hard for them to get into a meditation. But if you haven't done a lot of stuff with your body before, it actually can take longer because you have more energy to release for any of these exercises to actually help that breathing to reset. Just want to make that note out there because I've done these for 10 years now. My body doesn't hold on to energy as much as it used to. And when I'm in high stress situations, I take better care of my body with these tools. So I can regulate, I can attune my nervous system to the base level, if you will, a lot faster than when I used to, or when I first started these exercises. It used to take me a long time. All right, y'all, you ready for this? So the easy part first, we are going to go into looking at body language. Okay, so this is a slideshow. I used to have a business name that's on hiatus for now under the name Movement Medicine. So hold on, I want to make sure I'm still getting used to the software. Sorry, I have to actually share. Add to stage. Okay, there we go. Let's make sure. Nope, hold on. I want it to be, there we go. That's better. Okay. So why do we learn body language? Now let me get back to key point or whatever it's called and put it in there. So hopefully you guys can see me. Okay, hold on. I want to make sure you can see me. I'm going to go to my app. Again, apologies, new at this. Okay, let me switch to a different user. Do 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 do. Let's see. All right. Awesome. Okay. It is there. Perfect. Okay. So why should we learn the science of the nonverbal world and body language? Well, because it's emotional intelligence, you all. It is something that we are born knowing and understanding. And actually, you'll see a slide here in a second. We get trained out of this by the time we go to school and leave school. It is a superpower that allows you to really start to understand when somebody is maybe a dark personality, as we're talking about here, and using these Darvo methods, and being able to identify a dark personality maybe a lot faster than you would if you weren't tuning into this powerful world. So here's one of my Instagrams from all those years ago where I talk about we see, but we do not observe, right? So my goal for you today is to help you start learning how to observe and understand what you're seeing, hearing, absorbing, right? Because it's all of the senses. Nonverbal it talks about the tone of the voice, the pitch of the voice, which maybe is the same. It's the body signals as well as what's not being said, right? It's taking in all of that. I'm going to give you a stat here in a second about how much is actually, and I might have to like jump down to my notes, so apologies here, but how much of language is actually nonverbal? It's a huge percentage. So anybody can guess how quickly babies can begin to read facial expressions? Do 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 do. You ready for this? 2 days old. They're already tuning in to whoever is holding them and looking. Again, babies, I don't know if you know this, but they don't have their full eyesight for a couple of weeks, I think it is, but they can see stuff up close. So when somebody's feeding them or nursing them, they're starting to tune into all the facial expressions and starting to program themselves with body language. All right, babies can learn sign language on average. How quickly before their first words? If you've been a parent, you might know this. You ready for this? 2 to 3 months before their first words. I would say it's even more than that. We started the so you can, what was it called? I forgot. We don't need to go there, Holly, but we did this with my boys and it was freaking amazing to be able to have them have some language more, right? Sorry, please, or maybe it's the other way around. I don't remember now, but yes, nonverbal cues can start so much earlier than these verbal ones, but yet there's 3 problems with not knowing body language. 1, we don't learn it. We don't learn it, and it's intelligence, you all. Oh, there's no structured way unless you come to a class like this and start to learn what the different things mean. We don't have a system for it. Like I just said, we don't have a structured system for it, Holly. And we undervalue it. We put so much emphasis on the verbal. And so if somebody is saying yes, what signal is this giving? Or they're like, sure, I'll do that, right? Like actors and actresses do this all the fucking time. And it drives me crazy because they'll be like, sure, I want to do that. And they don't catch it, that whoever's directing it doesn't catch them to be like, yes, right? It's such a small little nod. You'll see them doing that. Now I've pointed it out, you'll see it everywhere and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so annoyed now. Okay. But here's the 3 opportunities that we have if we learn body language, if we learn this nonverbal world. We can project power with a nonverbal advantage, right? We know how to maybe get out of a conversation we don't want to get or we don't want to be in. You want to know how you do that? You turn your toes slightly and turn your shoulders slightly, and that'll give them the nonverbal cue that you are done with the conversation. It can helps you control your nonverbal messages. Like I just gave you that example. I haven't been over this for a while, and it optimizes for hidden strengths. So it just really gives you an opportunity to tune into other areas that maybe you're a little bit of what you would consider an awkward person or a shy person. So if you learn body language, it's actually going to empower you to feel better in your own body and know how to use your body to communicate people so you don't have to use your words. And that's a little less invasive, right? All right, hold on. I want to make sure I talked about what slide was that on. I changed all of this up too. Okay, so it was back on this slide. I really wanted to talk about this down here. If you can read this. So I'm just checking. Yeah, it looks like you can. So there's something called the 7, 38, and 55% rule floating around, which claims that only 7% of communication, y'all, is actually the words. 38% is vocal, tone and pitch. So they are different. See, I'm remembering things as I go. And 55% is actually the visual, the body language, and the facial expressions. And these are all different classes that I could eventually teach on here. But yeah, all of these things. So 38 and 55% is that nonverbal language skill set. And yet we only focus on 7% with people, right? Unless you get into like debate and probably political speech, which, you can see Vance has definitely done some of that in his language. He's able to speak with his body a lot more efficiently than Trump. So I just really want you to remember that 7% is only 7% is actually vocal. The rest are words, verbal. The rest, 93%, is nonverbal. That's a huge freaking percentage. Some people, you might hear other stats where it's like 60 to 80%, but still, even that, it's above 50% of our speaking is nonverbal. And there's all these studies that have been done that show when somebody actually is using their voice, like I am using with you all, I'm using my hands, but I'm not doing big gestures like this, right? I'm using them within, the strike zone, that you will listen and pay attention much more effectively. You will retain that information. You'll be more entertained. You will grasp the information more if we're using our language in order to help people grasp this stuff. So obviously I could talk about this forever, but there's two parts of body language and sense of who's doing what, right? So the decoding is what we're going to do today. We're going to sit and look at what the body language is telling us, as well as the different types of tactics that dark personalities use. And then we're also going to look at encoding, which is, well, we're not going to look at that today. The other part is encoding, how we, like I said, a power pose, or maybe a little bit of a gentler power pose, like just feel the difference of what this feels like in your body versus this, right? So thinking about how we're coming across with our body language is the encoding part. All right, so let's go back to, there's a little, let me see. Yeah, okay, so we're gonna go over these last two, and this will round up our just very basic body language, like 99. Very basics, very high level here that I'm giving you. All right, there's 5 C's that are in body language, the communication of it. Nonverbal makes up the majority of our communication. We just talked about that, right? Somewhere between 60 and 93%, a huge percentage of it. The context, it can never be taken out of context. And you're going to get a little, not a little teaser, a little introduction on how we can really use that context piece with the last one here. Cross-cultural. So this is something we really, I'm sure everyone is aware about, or aware about. That sounded strange. Is aware about that Zelensky is not a native English speaker. And so some of the body language I'm reading, there's a little bit of a late reaction because, I think he has to translate it in his head. And we also don't know the customs of the Ukrainian people in America on average. I don't know the customs. So I'm looking at how Vance and Trump are doing things, and I'm like, gosh, how is that coming across with Zelensky? But we have to take into account cross-cultural, right? So, just a quick example, Americans stand further apart than maybe a lot of European countries do. So that's a cultural aspect to body language that we have to be aware of. That's what I'm trying to say, aware of when we watch body language. Consistency. Are they making the same? Do their words, their emotions, and their body language all congruent, right? So yes, that's a huge indicator. The body cannot lie, you all. The mind can, but the body can't keep track of the mind's lies. So if you see somebody that's like, yeah, I know, they don't know, right? You have to look at all of that, and it's a lot to take in. We're working a different part of our brain when we're teaching ourselves or reteaching ourselves to watch body language. I think I missed the stat back on the babies, but we go into school, before we go into school, we know like some 400 different verbal or nonverbal cues. By the time we leave school, we get trained out of that and it's down to like 100. It's insane. It's like, why are we not teaching people this? Okay. The last one to keep in mind, which takes all of these things into consideration, is a cluster. So we can't just take one signal that somebody's scratching their nose and take that as a lie detecting. Like that's a whole different version of body language decoding skills we're not going to get into. I might point that out a little bit in what I see in Trump, but this could be, I'm uncomfortable, or the pursing of the lips means I'm trying to hold something back. But we have to take it in a cluster of other signals that we're getting. So we're looking for a set of 3, essentially, hopefully, same, like going back up to consistency, different signals that we're getting, 3 of them, in order to really make a definitive call on what's happening in that situation and what their body is telling us versus what their words are telling us. So I really hope that that's clear. I can't read this because the screen it says stop sharing. When we look at body language cues, we look for a cluster. So it's basically what I said. All right. So again, somebody that's like flipping their hair or playing with their hair, that could be a nervous tell, or it could be a flirtatious tell, right? Like if somebody's going like this, there's actually all these pheromones that come off of the throat, especially in women. And that's a way to basically waft their pheromones at whoever they're trying to flirt with, versus like, maybe I'm playing with my hair. Like I'm going to look for 2 other signals, 2 other pieces of that cluster to make sure that I'm reading that body language. Again, that's a very simple, easy one to see. Are they twisting their hands? That kind of thing. All right, so we're going to stop sharing that. Let me know if you have any questions on the replay as you're watching that. Again, that's a super high level of body language 101, really introducing just the basics that I want you to understand. I mean, we didn't even really, except for the few examples I gave you, we didn't really dig into the different, pursing of lips, shrugging of shoulders, their eye movement, like all of this. It's so much to watch. So you're probably going to be pretty tired after this. In fact, let's just do, helps. Yeah, let's just do this for a moment and come back down into our bodies. All right. So now we are going to start looking at some language that we will need to have in our back pockets as we're watching the Oval Office here. All right. So the first one we're going to look at is our tactics. Let's see. I want this to be bigger so I can read it with you all. So the different tactics that cults and dark personalities will use, I don't know, like I don't believe in souls, incarnating and all that stuff, but sometimes I'm like, do these souls go to some pre-birth class to learn these tactics because they all are so fucking good at it without having gone to any classes on it, right? Like somehow it's in our DNA or in the zeitgeist, the air, and these people just pick up on it and they know how to do these tactics. Like, I think a lot of them, when you get to like the Keith Raniere and the Mason and that higher level, they're actually probably studying this. And I wanted to say this too, is as I watch Trump more and more, I am convinced that he is not what we think he is. He is not this like he's just dumb. He's just speaking off of his ass, like all these things that people say about him. I think he's super calculated. I think he's studied this stuff and implement. I mean, again, he's a dark personality, so he's born knowing it. He's gone to some pre-born class somehow for his soul to get this stuff down. We got to have some fun with this, right? But I think he's probably also studied this stuff. A lot of our stuff that we have exalted into leaderships is narcissistic personality traits. And so if you start studying a lot of the leadership books, especially without how old Trump is, like it's going to be a lot of this stuff, how to win and convince friends or whatever it is. Like, a lot of that stuff can be manipulated by dark personalities really damn well. So with a lot of this education, I'll just say this too, like A lot of relationships, they're encouraged to go to communication classes to learn how to communicate better. And unfortunately, if the therapist doesn't catch that that is a dark personality type, then that dark personality, that narcissist, whatever they are, will actually learn that communication skill really well and start to use it as an abuse tactic. And that's called information abuse. And emotional intelligence abuse, which is what we're going to see with Trump when he starts talking about don't tell us how to feel, right? So, all right. So, yes, let's look at these. We're going to save Darvo for the last, but if you know the cycle of abuse, it starts off with love bombing. And that is when new recruits are overwhelmingly fed with so much affection and adoration and attention. And like they basically want to get you hooked on what they want you to eventually do for them so that you will, like a dog, not knowing when that adoration, that love bombing is going to happen again. You just keep coming back because you think one of these times I'm going to get that love that I thought I had, not realizing it's a toxic love. That's called love bombing, right? It's not real love. It's just a tactic that they're using in order to get you hooked. Cult and dark personalities will use thought terminating cliches. We're going to see that happening a lot in the Oval Office at the end where the Darvo starts to happen. They will try to isolate you. Like I think about poor Zelensky sitting there by himself, doesn't speak our language as his first language. And you've got Trump, you've got Vance, and whoever else from the US surrounding him. He has been isolated by himself, whether we realize it or not, right? Um, and then us versus them mentality. Whew, this is a big one. I mean, every religion does this, right? You're in the in group, you're in the out group. You have the right version of Christianity, you have the wrong version of Christianity. You're in the right MLM selling the right product, the best product, the product that's going to change your life. Everybody else's MLM is an MLM. It's network marketing. We're not that. We're not them, right? So I hope you can see, yeah, there's always the good group, which is our group, and you want to be part of our group because we get all the benefits of heaven, and that group gets all the sin of hell, right? So you can see how that works. Okay, and then Darvo is this, it's an acronym, and it stands for deflect or deny, attack. I like deflect as well. It can be deflect or deny. I think deflect is yeah, that's what I had written down for a lot of these things. They were deflecting it. They weren't necessarily denying it, but they were deflecting, moving right in the next like 2 words into attacking Zelensky, which then therefore reverses that victim and oppressor or offender. So again, we're going to get a lot of examples. I got through at least 4 or 5 of them before I had to stop and come on here to get the live going. So there was a lot of them, you all. All right, exit full screen so I can see. Let's see, what was the next one? All right, let's look at, hold on, I gotta remove that one. Love bombing. All right, so let's just look at this a little bit more detail. We've already talked about what it is. Let me just read the definition. It's a form of psychological and emotional abuse that involves a person going above and beyond for you in an effort to manipulate you into a relationship with them. It looks different for every person, but it usually involves some form of excessive flattery and praise, over communication of their feelings so that you immediately feel that bond to them and you want to be in their presence because, oh my God, they're so open and so vulnerable with me. Showering you with unneeded or unwanted gifts. My pursuer was wealthy and not wealthy, but he had more money than I did when we were dating. And I didn't. And yeah, that became a whole issue once the relationship was really going, because then I wasn't spending as much money on him as I was getting spent on me, but I didn't have as much money. Yeah, you can see where it's just like, all right. And then early and intense talks about your future together. Again, that goes right along with the over communication of their feelings. And the way that this plays out in the Oval Office, again, we'll see it in the first 20 minutes that we look at, or 18 minutes or something like that. But there's definitely love bombing there. There is absolutely love bombing there. All right. So is anything else? They give you needless gifts. They rush in to lock things down, right? They're pressuring him. They're pressuring Zelensky to lock things down with them. They're always available and demanding of your attention. How many times did they say, "You're not thanking us. You're not thanking us." And they won't take no for an answer. They like you better when you're alone, that isolation tactic we just talked about. They over communicate their love for you. Well, that might not apply here in the Oval Office as much. They communicate their demands to Zelensky a lot in order to get love, right? It's a transactional exchange there. And you're going to see Zelensky feeling very overwhelmed, uneasy, and off balance a lot, like especially from the beginning to the end. All right, thought terminating cliches. I don't know that I necessarily caught these, but you guys can be looking out for them. Again, there's so much to freaking watch that I can only do so much, however long we're gonna go here. But if you see thought terminating cliches and want to point them out down in the comments, please do so. I would love that. All right. A thought terminating cliche is a brief dismissive statement that ends an argument or shuts down a discussion. Actually, no, now that I think about that, Vance absolutely does when he starts his Darvo. Again, like Darvo is actually taking all these tactics and throwing them at people at once. And it really throws people off balance. Like if we're talking about the energetic world, like, right? It's just like that action. They get something thrown at them and it throws them off balance. They're useful to stifle critical thinking and debate. They shut down that critical part of our brain that can actually debate logically. It's just the way things are. You're talking about with somebody that they need to help themselves by deconstructing the ideology of patriarchy. Oh, there's no such thing as patriarchy. It's just the way things are. It's just the way things have always been done or just always will be done. It's just, you're just overthinking it. Another one, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. Stop thinking so much. Here we go again with the eye roll. What is the eye saying when they do the eye roll, the body language? Some of them from the Christian world would be, give it to God. Just give it to God. God is perfect. You're not. You need a savior. Everyone's a sinner. What other? I'll pray for you. Bless your heart. All of those are thought terminating cliches. All right. So the purpose of them is to end the cognitive dissonance for the person that uses them. They can't understand what the hell you're saying. And so they're just going to throw that thought terminating cliche at you. So you stop talking to them. All right. So it kind of pushes them away from you energetically with their body language and their verbal. All right. You can, I love this. Yeah. How to respond? You ask follow-up questions to help them re-engage their mind because they've just shut it down with that cognitive dissonance. All right. So there is thought terminating cliches. You guys are getting like the speed demon lesson here. Remove. I don't think we need to go into us versus them. Isolation tactics, Darvo. Well, here was a better one on, nope, we did that. What was this one? Oh, we did that. All right. So with that, y'all, are you ready to go into this? Oh, that's the wrong one. All right. Let me take a drink of water. Get yourself some water. Let's do our exercise where we're resetting the nervous system here. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining us. Please hit that like after we're done with this exercise. Please hit the subscribe. Please leave a comment that will help drive this out to more people so they get this education as well. And what we're doing right now is we're just basically taking the thumb of one of your hands and hitting the nerve. It's the vagus nerve right here, that little nub on the chest. And it will help to reset the nervous system and bring it down to a baseline. You might have to do it longer than me before you get that. You just felt that or heard that breath release for me. I'm going to close my eyes. My feet are grounded. Okay. Again, this can be super, super triggering, alarming, feel like you're sitting in a relationship that you maybe have struggled or successfully gotten yourself out of. So if you need to take a break, please take a break. Put it on pause. Put it on mute. Maybe do that. Put it on mute and just watch the body language for a while, right? You might not get what I'm hearing or saying though, but that's okay. And take your time. make sure your body is in good care and in good condition as we go through this, because it can be super, the body remembers. The body remembers this kind of energy, and it's not a lighthearted energy to be in. I'm going to try to make it as light as I can, but let's jump in. All right. So share screen. I think this is the one. I have two. Yeah, it's the second one. And I'm going to switch to a different one. I got add to stage. Okay. I'm going to switch to a different one once we get into the last part where Vance really comes in, because it gives us a better view of Vance, a frontal view, because this one doesn't give us the frontal view, and that gives us more body language to read, right? All right, so I think what I want to do is put this on large screen, and that gives us more body language to read, right? Hold on, I'm just letting this catch up. All right. No, it doesn't. Okay, hold on. I just wanted to get on large screen so you guys don't have to see me. There we go. Does that work? Oh. Okay, there we go. Okay, large screen on. Okay, so what I really want you to pay attention to here is, especially the big picture, is watch Zelensky's body language now versus when we get to the last 5-6 minutes of this. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at my notes. I don't even know if I understand my notes. So let's just jump in. So yeah, again, Zelensky, his body language right now is more relaxed. The steeple grip that Trump is doing. Yeah, I guess you kind of have to see what I'm doing. I guess I'm glad. Okay. So the steeple grip that Trump is doing is actually a power move. That is one of our power body language moves, and both him and Trump do it a lot. So again, I don't think these guys don't know what they're doing. I think they do. And that's what makes them even more dangerous, because especially Trump comes across as if he doesn't know what he's doing. Versus Zelensky is doing this. And you'll see Zelensky fidgeting a lot. Now, that could be a cultural thing where, he's just uncomfortable being in this environment, in the sense that it's not his land, it's not his native tongue. But I also think it's because of how he's being treated and how they are making him feel. All right, let's jump in. So, pursing the lips. Let's go back to that. When somebody's pursing their lips, yep, right there. When somebody's pursing their lips, that means they're holding something back. They have something they really want to say, and they're holding something back. Now, this is the thing I find super interesting about Trump, and this is not true for every type of dark personality. Trump's body language is really contained, except when he starts talking with his hands, and it's just this. It's very minimal. It's very elementary. He's pretty contained. Now, he does start to get more heated at the last 5 minutes that we're going to see, and I have some really good shots. I'm going to stop right on the market so you can see those. But the eyebrow raise, the shoulders forward, the pursing the lips, he's angry about something already. You can tell it, right? He's really biting his tongue, if you will.
Well, thank you very much.
So Zelensky, again, just really take note of his body language here. It's not the most relaxed body language, relaxed, he'd be sitting back in his chair more, like you'll see Vance do at the end, which is a more power move. Zelensky is already on the defense when he starts this conversation. So something's probably happened, or a lot of something has probably, we know a lot has happened, but I'm saying immediately before this meeting, I'm sure other shit has already been going down between the three of these people.
Very much. It's an honor to have President Zelensky of Ukraine, and we've been working very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each.
And again, remember the steeple grip, or the steeple, that's a power move.
Each other for a long time, and very well. We had little negotiation spat but that worked out great. I think for both countries, I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal.
I mean, just the amount of shifting that Zelensky does. Again, I've never seen Zelensky in any other situation, but to me, this is just screaming already how uncomfortable he is in this situation. Ugh.
And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth.
And I just have to say, as a person who has recycled her whole entire life, who's always been concerned about this is the only planet we can live on. I mean, this just screams patriarchal bullshit all over it. Has nothing to do with body language, but and I'm sure you guys are with me.
But it means we're going to be inside, and it's a big commitment from the United States. And we.
All right, so right here again, he's setting the stage with his body language and his words about being the dominator here. That's what his whole entire presence is saying here.
We appreciate working with you very much, and we will continue.
And I would say that's also love bombing, right? It's also that love bombing of like, let me draw you in so I can help you make you feel more comfortable, and then bam, I'm going to knock you down.
You to do that. We have had some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. Something that you want.
Timer here, because I have all my notes.
Negotiate a deal, but we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen. The big thing is
another thing I kind of want to point out is both of these men are sitting forward in their chair, or their shoulders are a little bit more hunched. But between the two, who looks more comfortable and who looks more uncomfortable? Trump versus Zelensky, right?
Number of soldiers, mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. They're losing thousands of soldiers on both sides. We're losing a lot of soldiers. We want to see it stop.
The translation,
and we want to see the money get put to different kinds of use, like rebuilding, and we're going to be working.
So he rubs his nose, which usually again means something. Based on that cluster of the thumb fidgeting, the shoulders, the eyes going all over, darting. Again, I think that just shows he's really uncomfortable in this situation. He's trying to find his own grounding. He needs some of this language or some of this education to be able to be in more of a power move. Like he really needs to move at least one hand back like this and take up more space. So he's conveying more power. He's a smaller human being, if we will, than Trump or Vance is. So the way to offset that is to take up more space. And he's doing an okay job. But again, I think he was knocked off of his game probably way before this got started. And that's why he's showing up this way.
Working very hard, but we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever. They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say.
So again, Trump's just setting himself up to be the savior, as we know he does. But this is so important that we watch the whole thing and how it happens so that we know how it unravels at the end, right? So he's setting up that expectation of himself because that's how he sees himself. That's how narcissists and dark personalities see themselves, is as saviors of everybody else, and that everybody else needs to get in line with what they're doing.
Say that I'll say in front of you, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. If I were president, this war would have never happened. We would have had a deal negotiated for you without having to go through.
Yep. Again, if it would have been me, everything could have been avoided because I'm so powerful and I'm almighty.
What you've gone through. But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great equipment, but somebody has to use the equipment. They've been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit. This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers. And
so I want this part to be really, really front and center for you, because there is mutual tact and respect and thanks right here in this piece where at the end, if you've already seen the end, Trump comes after Zelensky saying he hasn't done enough. And that's another thing that dark personalities do, is they constantly change the goalpost for you. So you don't know what is enough and what's not enough. You don't know what's going to, I mean, you're walking on eggshells is what we talk about in recovery from these type of relationships, is you have no idea what's ever going to set them off or whenever they're going to be in a good mood. And you're praying for the good mood, but bracing for that bad mood, for walking on the eggshell type stuff. So that's what's happening right now, is again, all of this love bombing sets him up, even though he obviously didn't feel like this, as he didn't feel like he was being love bombed, I'm sure, as he walked into the office. But that's what it looks like to the rest of us, right? Like, oh, Trump is being so civil and so tactful and so gracious, and he's thanking him, and plain politics.
And yourself, in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters, and you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint.
Okay, so I want to play that again because it's super important how Trump just drops this in. Again, he's a master manipulator. Watch it and listen again. This is more about listening.
They're great fighters, and you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with.
You have to be very proud of them. You have to be very proud of them. And it's like a fucking parent coming along telling another man who runs another country what he needs to feel. And this is going to be important because Trump thinks it gets flipped on him at the end, but it doesn't. And I'm going to show you that from an emotional intelligence standpoint. But he's telling Zelensky what to feel and think, which is a classic, dark personality trait or tactic that they do. And it's like, then he can drop that, but let's get this over now, right? So it's all about telling this person what to do instead of inviting him into the diplomacy that they're saying they're doing. Oh, sorry.
And you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over with. So,
all right. So here comes more body language. We're going to look for pursed lips, the licking of lips, which means it could be a nervous tell, and the steeple grip that he's still doing. He constantly does. Again, steeple grip means, or steeple position means it's a power. That's a power move in body language.
It's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much.
So if you saw that, Zelensky was the one that pursed his lips there.
Be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right?
Yep.
We want to get it over with. So it's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign.
Let's watch that one more time.
Over with. So
with the thumbs there, that's all.
It's an honor to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while, right after lunch. And we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things. And we appreciate everybody being here. It's somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting or we end up with a deal. And I think we're fairly close to getting that. And an honor to have you. And please, I'd like to say something.
No, thanks so much, Mr. President.
All right. So that's more of, I would put that normal diplomacy and normal tact in an Oval Office meeting. We're going to read that as love bombing, right? Giving him the microphone for a minute, giving him the floor.
Thank you for the invitation. And really, I hope that this first document will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation. And of course, the infrastructure or security guarantees. Because for today, I understand what Europe is ready to do. And of course, I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do. And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And you said.
So again, the general observation is how little Trump is moving. It can go one of two ways with narcissists and dark personalities. They can be really big, emotional, like overbearing, emotional and body language people, or they could be like what Trump is displaying here, very limited. And I'm not going to, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know which category he necessarily drops into. He's exhibiting at least a lot of the characteristics of a narcissist. If you know anything about narcissism, they do understand what's called cognitive empathy. So they can say, well, I feel your pain, right? But they don't understand it emotionally. And that reflects a lot of times in their body language because they don't feel things like the average empathetic person would. They don't reflect that in their body language. And I think that that's what's interesting about Trump is he's very limited in his body language. It's very still. How many people can really hold that still if they're feeling things, right? And again, only when he gets to his anger at the end is when he really starts having more body language.
That enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer and terrorist. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to, to save our country, our values, our freedom and democracy, and of course, no.
Did you all see that? I wish I had a pointer. Watch Trump's eyebrow here, as he obviously is not engaged in this conversation.
It's very important to,
right?
To save our country, our values, our freedom, democracy, and of course, no compromises with the killer about our territories. But it will be later. And of course, what I wanted, we spoke about it by phone with you about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think the best one in the world for today because of the war. Yes, and of course, we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense in the world, and really you helped us.
So again, Vance's complaint at the end is how Zelensky isn't appreciative enough. He spends a good minute by my notes, if not more, about at least a minute, saying how appreciative and how he understands this position that the US has to come in and help his country. How is that not thanking the US? Mind blown on my end, but I know why.
Of Russians, and I want to speak.
Oh. He's smirking here. Watch. Can you see the you can't see that freaking A. Oh, I need to get a pointer somehow. Okay, I will do that for next time. But watch Trump's smile here. He's totally smirking. So smirking, a lot of times women are trained that when men smirk at them, that means that it's like a flirtatious thing, but it's not. It's actually exactly the opposite. Like if you see a man smirk at you, run the other freaking direction. It's not, it's like, it's putting people down. It's like looking down their nose at you. That's what smirking is. And he does it right here, right?
Under attacks of Russia.
There.
I want to speak how we can exchange the license.
You can tell a smirk versus a smile when only one side of the mouth goes up, and then he goes straight into pursing his lips. What did I tell you about pursing your lips? He's holding something back. He wants to say something that he's not really saying. He's not being as truthful here yet as he wants to be. He will be, but not yet.
We're open to share the licenses of all our drones with you, of course, with the United States. And we need licenses for quick production of air defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secure. So that's why we need this air shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the continued.
I mean, I keep watching Zelensky's hands and how much he's just fidgeting with his hands. And I feel for this man.
I think that France and UK already spoke to you. And we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be as strong as we need. And the last point, last not least, about exchange, about our people and children. And you know that this crazy Russian, that they stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian children.
All right, so we're heading into a section where you're going to see on display the cognitive empathy that's even like it's barely there. It's definitely not embodiment empathy coming from Trump when he's showing him the pictures of what's happened in his country. So again, That's another tell when you're dealing with a dark personality, is that there's like, they might say the right thing, but they can't bodily express that nonverbal language in the right way.
They changed their names. They changed their, their families, relatives.
I mean, just look at his eyes. Go back and look at his eyes. He's looking all around. He's so fucking disrespectful and disinterested as this man is talking about the damage that Russia has done to his country.
They stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian children. They changed their names. They changed their, their families, relatives, and now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back. And really, it's a big, big dream, task, and goal for me and our warriors.
I didn't even catch that one on the first one, but Zelensky does this basically with his hands. Hopefully you can see me. That's a great indicator of, I want to get something done. He's not as powerful as he could be. I really want to teach him body language, you all, so I can help him feel better about these type of meetings.
Now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back. And really, it's a big, big dream, task, and goal for me.
Right there.
And our warriors. By the way, Mr. We exchanged, released more than 4,000 warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, y'all. Where were we? We're about 12 minutes. Okay.
More.
So I would have to go back and look. This is just hitting me now. So again, apologize for the stopping, but has Trump always had this scowl on his face? We would call that resting bitch face on a woman. I don't know what it's called on a man. Maybe it's the same thing. He just looks unhappy, right? Like resting bitch face is an actual thing. It's not, it doesn't mean that somebody's a bitch. It doesn't mean that they're angry. It doesn't mean whatever, but like, I might have to go back and do a little research on like his younger years, if this is just what's happened with his natural body language, because he's just a pooey, unhappy person to begin with, probably. But that just hit me as his scowl. He's always had a scowl.
I wanted to share with you some.
All right, so here comes the pictures.
Just can I now?
Yeah, please.
Some minute, 1 minute. Adjust you to understand what.
So he relaxes his people grip and goes like this.
And what the attitude of Russia.
Which I found interesting. So to me, he did a little bit of a rock back. He relaxed his steeple grip into this. He's kind of leaning in. I feel like this is actually making him a little uncomfortable, right? Because this is not, he's not an emotionally intelligent man. He knows how to manipulate emotions very well, but himself, he's not how to show that. Right now he's on international TV being shown these horrific pictures. That's probably why he's uncomfortable, not because he's looking at these pictures. I hope you see the difference.
Guys, just you before and after. And you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys, ladies and men, and that, so they don't eat, they beat them, and they, do a lot of.
I mean, just look at how unempathetic Trump is. He's pursing his lips. Like, do I really have to look at these?
Bad things. So out of, even during the war, there are rules. Everybody knows there are rules during the war. So these guys, they don't have any rules. You see that?
I mean, almost no body language there. Almost no movement coming from Trump. He is so freaking still, which is probably how he's been coached, because he can't demonstrate the right emotion unless it's anger and contempt.
50, 60 kilograms left, and a lot of such things. And I didn't want to show you what the changes with images of children, because I will share with you. And I mean, it's looking tragic.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, Zelensky, I'm sure, has seen these photos a lot. So, it's probably not hitting him as hard to show these photos, but he's showing more empathy at these photos than Trump ever shows, right? And then listen to what Trump's about to say. I mean, there's no emotion, there's no tone, no pitch that shows he's giving any empathy to this situation.
With you, I mean, it's looking tragic.
Yep, it's tough stuff.
Yeah, I wanted very much to give you. You see,
that's tough stuff. That's all.
This is Pastor By the way, they stolen pastors
It's
because it's not Russian
pastors.
church. They stolen pastors and moved pastors to the prison.
Probably saying that to key into the MAGA movement, who are, supposedly Christians. No emotion there. No emotion, no remorse, no like, oh my God, this is tragic, as a normal, empathetic human being would have.
We, at the end of last year, we brought 3 pastors, and we could exchange them. And this is pastor.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, that's tough. That's as much emotion you get out of him. Again, I know politicians are trained to keep their cool, but they're also trained to show more emotion than this if they know how, which obviously he doesn't.
So, I wanted to show you and this. So thank you very much.
We want to get that in.
Right? So watch his body language here. He shifts back. He messes with his coat. He purses his lips.
This I wanted to.
Like, that could be saying a million different things. I can't read minds. I can only read body language. If we know Trump, that probably means like, this is your fault. Something along those lines.
To show you and this. So thank you very much.
We want to get that in.
Forward. Yeah, of course.
I think we will.
Watch that again.
We want to get that.
This I wanted to show you and this. So thank you very much.
We want to get that in, right?
Yeah, of course. We will.
I think we will. And
we want to get that ended, right? As if he doesn't want to get that ended. Of course he does. But again, that's a power play of reminding him that he is the parent and Zelensky is the child, and he needs to act accordingly.
I have to, of course.
Do you have any questions, please?
When you continue to ask about the president, thank you, Mr. President. How much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be.
He can't even say raw earth correctly. I'm sorry. Raw earth. Maybe that's his New York accent. I don't know. I don't really hear a lot of New Yorkers saying that, but I don't live in New York. I just have to make fun of it.
Taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas, but we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists. But
the environmentalists, but we can't.
That could be unprotected, but still it's not very much. Protected by the environmentalists, but that could be unprotected, but still it's not.
See how he just sneaks those little things in? Again, y'all, he knows what the F he's doing. And something else, I have not heard this. I'm sure other people have done this. He talks like a second grader. That will reach a lot of the people in this country who are at that level, right? A second, third, maybe fourth or fifth grader. But he knows what he's doing. And this was what his appeal was in the first round, right? We should have gotten over that. We all know we should have. Anyways, I'm going to stop there.
Not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons. And
again, trying not to be political here, but politics is life, and it's about our safety and our earth right now. And if we don't have a planet to live on, AI and weapons, like, aren't we struggling really far down in the Western world on our standard of living, on our education, on our quality of life, our health? What about using those things in those areas instead of, bumping up the arsenal cabinet so you can be a big boy with big weapons doing what he's going to okay, so this is the part where, again, this is not my expertise. I'm trying to stay on the body language, but I just have to say it. I have to get it out, or else I'm going to be pursing my lips.
The military, and it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil and we have a lot of gas. We have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all of the things we do. This puts us in great shape.
And long-term security for Ukraine. How does this provide?
I think they're going to have great long. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think.
There was something right here that I have in my notes that shows that he might be lying. I'm gonna maybe have to watch this a couple times to catch it.
I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and
so that little shrug of the shoulders is kind of like his body saying, "Am I telling the truth?" You know, that's kind of what the little shrug of the shoulder. Like, I don't know if you caught that. Watch that again.
And I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time.
See that? His body language is actually, again, it's very limited. There's not a lot to watch here, but that was a little tell that something's going on, that his body isn't in tune with his words there.
And I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think we talk.
Okay, let's watch it one more time. I can't catch it. I don't know what I was catching.
I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is.
Yeah, okay. So it must have been earlier, and I just wrote down the wrong time, that little shoulder shrug. That just, to me, you know, the mind can keep track of lies only to a certain extent, and then the body starts to really show the lies, right? So I think that's what's happening here.
Was made. I don't think we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day. All they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first. I don't worry about security right now. We have to have a deal, because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both sides. 2,000.
So here he starts to show more emotion about soldiers dying than the pictures Zelensky was showing him of the people that have been abducted, the pastors that have been abducted by the Russian government. And if you know anything about dark personalities, it's not because he has empathy for these soldiers or the soldiers' families or the loss of life. He sees them as numbers to an end. And that's what he's getting upset about here. Again, can't read his mind, but that's what I would read this as, is he's having more emotion here in the wrong place, as we would see it, as empathetic people. And it's not for the actual soldiers, it's for the loss of power and might through the military.
And they're losing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And, you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian.
And is that a little Freudian slip? They're not American, so they don't count as much? Just saying.
Soldiers. And we talk, people are 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And, you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainians.
Again, like, so little body language here to really show you, but so it's more of the voice inflection.
And we want to be able to stop it. And we want to be able also to spend money on other things. We don't want to, this is a tremendous amount of money. And what the Biden administration did was terrible.
And this is what gets me, is how far we have come in American politics to throw our own country under the bus time and time again. And it gets worse and worse and worse to this. Like, where is the diplomacy that Vance is talking about later in this scenario? Where is the tact? Where is the gentlemanness in any of this? Like, ugh.
They were giving money, but he had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But
do we really?
This is
Not.
an incredible agreement for Ukraine because we have a big investment in their country now, and what they have, very.
Again, this would be more of that love bombing, right? So the reason we're watching all of this is so you can really get the stage and then be able to see it at the end as we go through the end.
Few people have, and we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations.
Okay, so again, tune into what he's saying here.
Country now, and what they have, very few people have, and we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations. But the
subtle drops of what's really going on in his head and probably with this administration. And I'm going to have to stay at a very high level so I don't freak out at what he's saying. But this is a tactic. It's like in the relationship, if you don't calm down, I'm going to start threatening. We're going to be moving towards divorce here if you don't get your act together. Okay? So he is setting the stage for the later thing. Now, we don't know if Vance and him talked about this and turn a situation where Zelensky asked a question and they were just waiting so they could pounce on him. It feels like they did that. I'm sure they were in cohorts about what was going to go down in this Oval Office, right? Because they want to set the stage to make it look like it's Zelensky that's moving people to, you know what, versus them. But if you listen to their language, they are setting the stage and Zelensky falls right into the fucking trap, unfortunately.
That we need for our country. This allows us to do that.
Will you continue?
I'm sorry. Can I?
Military aid.
Yes, go ahead, please.
If I can just, yes. In the document, there is one of the very important points. If we speak about business and investment, we never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next documents, but anyway, here.
President Zelensky, do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That the President Trump is on your side at this moment?
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think
Zelensky asked Trump, what do you think? Not what did he say? Again, this is Trump trying to be the parent and decipher what, try to put himself in that parent role so Zelensky feels less than. He feels like he's in the child role. That is a power play, y'all. Absolutely knows what he's doing.
That sort of a stupid question. I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't. But
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning.
Okay, so again, Zelensky does the political right thing here and says, yes, of course they are.
Of occupation. And I think that President Trump on our side and of course, I'm sure.
Okay, so from here for the next minute, I want you really watching Trump.
That United States president will not stop support. This is crucial for us. It's important for us. Yes. And Putin, the president speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory. They came to our land. They began this war and they have to stop. And I think this is the great.
Again, so still. He's like a fucking statue, but wait, in about 10 seconds, he's going to start making some body language moves.
Question was really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies to stop Putin withdraw these enemies out?
Okay, right there. He starts to move back. He's back to that steeple grip. He brings in a big breath. He does not like what Zelensky is saying. So let's rewind and hear what he was saying right before he made that body language move.
Really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies to stop Putin withdraw these enemies?
So he hopes that President Trump with allies can stop Putin. Trump is leaning back, steeple grip, big sigh in, big breath in. I don't know what that means, y'all. It doesn't feel good. Let's just say that. It doesn't feel good.
It's our and withdraw these troops.
And then he purses his lips right after that. Again, what does purse lips means? It means they're biting their tongue. They have something they want to say, but they know they can't say it, or it's not the right time to say it.
From our land. And I think
his eyes are shifty. You know, think about when your eyes are shifty. You're thinking to yourself. You're trying to figure something out.
That you asked about the history. I think that if President or when he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be.
Okay, so we're going to rewind that. I want you to watch, again, we've watched Trump several times here, and he's so super freaking still. What is Zelensky saying? He's saying that he hopes Trump can stop Putin. Again, I'm not doing this to alarm you. I'm doing it to teach you the body language. Please don't let your mind run off like my mind is right now. Oh, let's do this for a second. If you're just joining us, thank you so much. You just came in a really, really difficult part, and I need to take a breath. Please make sure you go back and watch the beginning of this, because you're going to have to watch the beginning to get the body language little crash course I did to understand what gaslighting, Darvo, and some of these tactics are that I'm talking about, how he's building the stage of love bombing. And okay, let's rewind this a little bit more and play it again.
Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall.
See that rocking?
And I think that you asked about the history.
He's rocking in his seat right now. We've seen very little body language from Trump, but all of a sudden he starts rocking when he's talking, when Zelensky's talking about this man that he wants stopped from invading his country. Why? Why would he be shifting his body language now?
I think that if President or when he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will.
Okay, it's so subtle. I want to slow this down for you all so you can really see his body language here. That might be a little too low. Let's go 0.75. Okay. Get back here. All right. It's so subtle. It's so subtle what he's doing, but watch his body language from everything I've already said in this video, from the crash course we did, from how I've been breaking this down for you. What is this saying to you? Leave me a comment down below.
President Trump will bring peace to our country. I think he will be.
He starts fidgeting with his fingers. He starts shifting back in his chair.
On this wall.
He's moving more.
We've had very, very good.
He lets go of his steeple grip. So something's going on internally with Trump right here. A lot of something. And I think it's a huge freaking tell.
Talks.
And how quickly he moves on from that, because he's uncomfortable, because he knows something we don't, but now we do by watching his freaking body language. All right, let's do a little bit more. I'm going to have to take a break. I need to use the restroom. And then we'll jump into...
What about military aid to Ukraine? President Zelensky just said that there'd be no compromises with Vladimir Putin. I just wanted to ask both of you. Firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelensky is going to have to make? And President Zelensky, is there anything that you think that you may be able to offer or bring to the table, for example, elections? Thank you.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but.
Okay, go back and watch Zelensky here.
Can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but.
Zelensky, I don't like that. I don't like that answer. Again, I don't know 100% how the translation in his head is going and if he's maybe reacting to something else. If he was an American speaker, I would say he didn't like the fact that Trump just told him he's going to have to make compromises about a country that invaded him first.
Hopefully they won't be.
And whether or not he knows he has to do that, he just doesn't like it, right? His body language is telling us he doesn't like the fact and the position he is being put in, which no one would.
As big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. It's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile. To put it mildly, they've been very hostile. There's been a vicious war. There's been a vicious.
All right. So I have a note here. We didn't talk about loaded language, but loaded language just means a lot of these drops that I've been pointing out that Trump is doing, that we're going to, we're going to have weaponry. We're going to create weapons from this raw earth that we're getting from Ukraine, and we're going to put it in many places. That's loaded language. This is another loaded language situation where he's talking about how both sides are hostile. So he is retelling the story so that the people listening believe him versus what the actual truth was. This was a hostile country, Russia, that invaded Ukraine. And of course, Ukraine had a right to defend themselves. They weren't both hostile countries going at each other at the same time. But that's what the loaded language will do. It will retell that story to get you to believe something that wasn't true.
Is a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile. To put it mildly, they've been very hostile. There's been a vicious war. There's been a vicious war. It's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out. And as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete, many times the only thing.
Again, Zelensky just did that thing with his nose. He sat back. He's, fidgeting with his hands. Again, this just kind of shows you the heightened uncomfortability that he's starting to feel.
It's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out. And as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete. Many times the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets. It's dead level. That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection against.
Do you see Zelensky shake his head? He's more concerned. Zelensky's probably thinking he's more concerned about my farmland than my people.
Human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets. It's dead level. That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection.
See right there, that little shake, the little nod of the head. He can't believe he just said that. There's a little bit of a pursing of lips. His hands get a little tighter. There's my 3 cluster. Yeah, he does not like what he just said.
Against the bullets that are being, and other things that are being shot.
Oh my gosh, that's a classic, oh my gosh, get me out of this situation, right? He turns his head. He tries to take a breath. He's trying to stop the energy input, the body language input he's getting from Trump. Again, Trump's trying to sit there in a power move with the steeple grip, a little bit forward, a little bit almost in Zelensky's space himself. And Zelensky's like, make this frickin' thing stop now. Watch that again.
Little protection against the bullets that are being, and other things that are being shot.
Eyebrow raised,
so
eyebrow
all
look.
I can do is
takes a breath, and then he, gets himself back engaged, but he's still, messing with the hands. He's still got the pursed lips.
See if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. And I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Mr.
President, I got 2 questions for you.
Okay, did you see what happened there? Trump goes right on and doesn't even let Zelensky say anything, and Zelensky knows it, and that's the gesture he just gave. Again, setting the stage in order to do what they do at the end. They're taking him down little bit by little bit. They knew what the frickin' A they were doing. The more I watch this, I'm convinced of that. This was a very calculated attack on Zelensky. They were never walking out of there with an agreement. They knew that. They didn't want that. They want something else.
Mr. President, I got 2 questions for you. You think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars? President,
let's listen to this question.
Ultimately your legacy will be. Mr. President, I got 2 questions for you. You think ultimately your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars?
Okay. He's asking, I don't know if you can hear it on there. Hopefully you can. If he'll be known, if he wants to be known, or he will be known as the peacekeeping or the warmongering president. The body language, though, I want you to notice here, Trump is more engaged in this question via that body language than he has been in Zelensky, or in Zelensky showing the photos or whatever Zelensky is showing. So interesting to break this down.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing.
Okay. So we're going to go back. I'm sorry, I'm breathing. Because we're going to go back and watch this a couple times. And I want you to see, I'm going to slow it down again. And I want you to see if you can see the body language that I'm seeing and confer with me what I'm seeing. Watch Trump here. Watch Trump very closely.
Remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this.
Watch it again.
Remembered as a be. Remembered as a peacemaker.
3, 4, 5.
This would be a great thing if.
I saw 6 different tells right there. We have 3 we're looking for. He gave us fucking 6 tells of what's going on inside of his body right now. Even though his words are saying something, let's reverse this back. He starts by shifting his knee, his hand on his knee to his coat, right? So a signal by, that could mean a million different things, but when you combine it, when we're looking at a cluster for things, let's go back a little bit more. Oh, look at that one. Oh, that's not a good look. He doesn't look happy. Pursing the lips. Pursing the lips. He starts to lean back and mess with his jacket. I'm going to have to play this in real time. All right, so that's the first one I saw when we started.
Remembered as a peacemaker.
1, 2, 3 times. So he's shifting in his seat. Again, this is a man that doesn't give us a lot of body language when anything else is going on. So the body language he is giving us is so key to tune into. He stumbles on his word here even. Shoulder shrug. Did you see that? There's a little shoulder shrug. So he's leaned back, moved his jacket, shifted in his seat. What does that mean when somebody's shifting in their seat? It either means they're bored or they're anxious or they're nervous. With all of the other things that he's giving us, you get to tell me what you think he's doing. And
peacemaker.
Shifting.
This is
shoulder shrug right there. I really don't know what I'm saying. That's what it's telling me. And then watch his head right here.
This would be a great.
He just gave us that body language clue. Yes, this would be a great thing. What are you picking up from that? What are you picking up from that, y'all? Bodies do not lie. They tell us the truth, even if the words don't match. That's what we're looking for. His words just did not match what his body language was doing. Watch it again. Watch the whole thing.
Remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives.
So a lot of people could write this off if they believe Trump is just, a kid that doesn't know what he's doing, as he just didn't know what the hell he's talking about. I don't put that on him. I think he is super, super in touch with what he is doing. His body is giving the tells, though. 6 freaking tells right there when he starts talking about what he's doing. So let's listen to it in real time to hear what he's talking about again.
Well, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker.
He's nervous about being remembered as a peacemaker. That is what he is nervous about, because he knows
this this would be a great thing if we.
He doesn't think it's going to be a great thing. That's what that is saying. I need to take a break, you all. Let's take a break. Okay. Let's do this. Hold on. I got to get to the right thing. Let's remove this for a second. Let's take a break. Let's get our nervous system under control. Woo! I was going to show you some statistics here about, oh, well, yeah, that's a little bit further in. I'm going to put a little break on. I don't have music. I should have loaded music, but I don't want to get demonetized potentially with this. So I'm going to put just a little thumbnail up. I'm going to take like a 5-minute break and I will be back. I wish there was like a timer. Maybe there is. All right, you keep doing what you need to do to settle your body down. I do not see, oh, I can do that. Touch up my appearance, y'all. I look great. I know it. I know I'm killing it, gal. I'm killing it, sister. All right, let's just close that out. I don't need that. Yeah, there's not a timer on here, which would be freaking amazing. New layout. Oh, nope. Cancel. Okay. All right, y'all. Do what you need to do to settle your body down, because that was a lot. That was a lot for me as I re-listened to that. Now I know we're all so freaking triggered. And I hope you just got to see what your body and your inner consciousness is knowing without knowing what you were actually seeing. Now you have seen why this man is not trustworthy and why you are feeling the way you are feeling. I hope it just gave you a lot of am I actually on? Yeah. I hope it gave you a lot of validation, a lot of understanding. And it's important that we attune our body back to baseline right now. So yes, let's take a 5-minute break, go to the bathroom, get some more water if you need more water, coffee, tea, whatever you need, and we'll resume. If you're on Central Time, we'll resume at 4:42. All right, I'll see you in a few. All right, y'all. I know I'm about a minute early, so I'm going to give it a second because I know I had some other people on here with me. But as I'm just anchoring myself back into the moment, I'm reminded that just bringing some awareness with healthy touch to your own midsection is also very helpful. And it just, again, the more you do these exercises, the quicker it is to get back to your baseline. If you're sitting, I would encourage you to have both feet on the ground, shoulders back, your butt as far back in the chair as you can. Let's just do a few moments of, self-touch, self-love. I like to do the firm grip just to let my body know I'm here. I'm in this present moment. And I do want to share something that came to me as I was taking that break about what we just watched. Whew. Okay. Oh, sometimes doing this on the head to just kind of dissipate the energy. We're in our head a lot right now. Ooh. Okay. So as I was thinking back, if you are just joining us or you're just tuning in and you didn't watch the before the break section, we were really looking at the language. I'm going to keep doing this. Sorry. The language Trump was using and the body language tells that showed his language didn't match his body tells. And I immediately went to, he's lying about whatever he's saying. So we have to go back and watch what he's saying to understand what he's lying about. And he was talking about he wants to be remembered as the peacekeeping person, right? So hello, that whoever just joined us, if you want to drop a comment to let me know who you are so I can say hi to you. I'm trying to ground myself. We also just had a Virgo moon and I'm a Virgo rising, and Virgo is very detail oriented, very critical, very perfectionism. I go into a lot of details. That's what's going to make me a great content creator, I think. And I just have to tell you everything. I'm trying to be better about that, but I just want to share everything I see. So what came to me, okay, there we go. If you just saw my breath adjusted, that's what I was looking for. I was looking for that deep inhale to be able to relax a little bit more. So it actually could have been, so we had 6 tells. He was shifting his jacket, sitting back, wiggling, 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 a little shrug of the shoulders, and then this. So everything up until the head where he was like, that would be a good thing. That's what he was saying, literally. Body language was going this way. And he was saying that would be a good thing. That would be a good thing is how the body language would be in congruence. So if we would have stopped with the shoulder shrug, we could have read that as he's nervous about something. He's unsure maybe that he would be remembered as the peace loving. He hopes he will be, but he's not sure that he will be remembered as the peacekeeping president. The tell that gets me, and I want to be careful because I don't want to create hysteria, but the tell that gets me to tell what those other cluster of body signals are, the 5 before it, what those were, was this. That would be a good thing. The body language doesn't lie. So to me, he doesn't believe it would be a good thing. You can read that however you want, but that's what the body language is saying in that situation. So let's continue. I have about 8 more minutes of this section, and then we'll go to the end of the section. So if you're just joining on the replay, make sure you go back and watch the rest of this. Make sure, oh, I just stopped the share. Hold on, I got to start this again. Share screen. All right, let me get this set up correctly so you can see it. We were doing this. I really hope people can see me enough. All right, let me see. I just got to give myself a second to make sure I got it set up correctly. No, it's a black screen. Why? No. All right, hold on. Add to stage. That's why. Okay. Whew. Hopefully here. Sorry, I'm just waiting. Make sure you guys can see what I can see. Come on. There we go. Okay. So I don't think I can go back and watch that again, y'all. That just charges me up a little too much. So let's keep going.
To save lives more than anything else. Second is to save a lot of money, but I can.
Oh, God. All right. I barely even watched that, y'all. I'm very conscious of how triggered I'm feeling right now. Again, even after all of that body touching and like, trying to ground myself. He just went from kind of that nervous energy that we're reading as he doesn't believe himself as he's saying what he's saying to very, very directive energy. So watch that shift. Hold on. Can I get this bigger?
Remembered as a peacemaker. This.
Oh, sorry. I can't watch it again. See if I can get it just past that. Oh, God.
Millions and millions of votes. We won everything.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't win this election. And by the way, if this election world war, this is a very.
Hold on.
So I hope second is to save a lot of money to do this. I'm doing this to save lives.
So again, he just went from kind of shifting a little less like, powerful energy because he doesn't believe what he's saying to watch his energy and how it moves right here.
More than anything else. Second is to save a lot of.
Second, right? He felt that. He knows what he's talking about. He's being more powerful there. See that shift?
Money, but I consider that to be far less important.
And how he side glances at Zelensky. This is where it fucking starts to build. This right here is where it starts to build into the Darvo. We're going to watch a little bit more and then jump into the Darvo moment.
I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question.
Love bombing, appreciating the people that you like and disappreciating, if that's a word, the people you don't.
I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very.
Okay, so his body language was congruent there. See, I know what I'm talking about, y'all. Watch what I'm watching. Let me get it again.
I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question.
Thank you, right? This is the language you do with your head when you say thank you. Thank you. Or yes. Or no, right? It says the wrong thing with the body language. Watch his head here.
It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker.
Okay, so there he felt a little bit more confident. So that's interesting. That's really interesting. I wish I had a wider angle to see what he's doing here. So, okay, makes me feel a little bit better that we might not be moving to where I think we might be moving to.
This would be a great thing to.
Oh, did you see what I just saw? Well, watch it at regular time, then I'll slow it down.
Be far less important. So I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker.
Okay, so now I realize he's not really actually he's not really doing this with his head. Watch this again. Watch for that.
This would be a great.
Nope. He's shaking his head. No, y'all. Fucking A. Okay. Got to slow it down for you. I'm trying to stay inside.
Hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation.
Loaded language. He's loading that fucking language right here, saying he's dangling the carrot in front of somebody, saying, if you don't fucking get in line with what I want, it's going to be your fault that we go to WW3. Not that he's doing it himself. He's trying to get people to take the bait right here. This is loaded language.
This could lead to a third world war.
He's setting the stage. He is so setting the stage. And watch his head. It goes like this.
I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. This could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction.
He doesn't shake his head. No, there. See that? He moves it a little bit, but that's not a shake of the head. That's a more affirmative action of his head.
If this election,
wait, what does he do with his lips there?
This was headed in the wrong direction.
He licks his lips. What does that tell you? He likes it. He likes it. What do people do when they lick their lips? They like something. Or they might just be wetting their lips. Okay. But cluster. What did I teach you at the beginning of all this? We're looking for clusters. He gave us a little shake when he said, this is a good thing. He licks his lips. That's a little bit of a cluster. So we need one more thing, but I think we saw it back a few minutes ago before we took the break.
Election were lost. If we didn't win this election, and by we.
Okay, let me. I got some stats. These are now 2 weeks old, but let's look at the stats of the election.
We won it by a lot.
He didn't win it by a lot. There's different stats out there. I will be honest. There are different stats. So let me get back to the stats. Add to stage. I think this is the right one. All right. So I can't see it unless I enlarge the screen. So yeah, hold on. I think that's the wrong one, y'all. I have these labeled, but I can't see the labels in full. So it must be this one. Okay, yeah, here's his approval. I thought I had one about the election. I guess I don't. Okay, so only 59% of the American population voted. He won by 3 million people. I don't have the stats on, I think most people are saying he won by 30% of America voted for him. That's not a landslide. I don't care who's in office. If they say, again, this is loaded language. That's why I'm putting this out. If they say they won by a landslide and they only got 30% of the American population who voted, who registered vote, that's not a landslide. That's not a mandate. That means a lot of people sat out of this election. 59% voted. What is that? 41% stayed home that registered to vote. Why did they stay home? They forgot. They didn't like either candidate. They voted for, or they didn't vote, right? So, 30% is not a huge margin here. Not a huge margin at all. So again, this is from February 3rd, so it's a little bit dated, but you can see his approval ratings are going down. His disapproval ratings are going up. There's no opinion on some of them. Donald Trump's presidential job approval rating as of February 3rd to the 16th, it's only 45, so that's saying the same thing. So again, just proving the facts. This is the Gallup poll. This is who, people usually use for things like this. And this one is stating that we're going to compare him over here to his first term trend. Okay, that was his first term trend. So he went from 45% down to 34%. And then if we look at historical ratings overall of people that have been president, of men, we know they're all men, unfortunately. The average is 52. He never hit that even with his first. Never even hit that with his first. So 52%. Average for the first quarter is 61%. Joe Biden actually had a higher percentage rating than Trump in his first term. All right. Barack Obama had 64. George W. Bush had something higher than Donald Trump. Bill Clinton had something higher than Donald Trump. Most other presidents, all other presidents that are on this list that are well-known presidents of the United States had higher job approval ratings than Trump. So again, loaded language, trying to retell the story in order to share misinformation that doesn't paint the picture the way it actually happened, but paints the picture how they want it to happen. Hello, if you just joined us, make sure you hit that like and subscribe and share a comment of who you are, please, so we can say hi. And the more people that give this a thumbs up, the more people will find this. So the other thing I would say is definitely you're going to want to we're almost 2 hours into this. You're going to want to go back and watch the rest of this because I do a little crash course on body language and on these different terms that we're using for narcissist. And this is slow going. I knew it would be slow going. I knew it would take some time. And this is why I wanted to make sure I did this when I felt grounded. All right. I'm going back. Make sure. Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Hold on. All right. So we just disproved that he won by a landslide and that everybody approves of what he's doing.
It was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes.
He won by 3 million. That's not millions and millions and millions. Well, maybe it was only 2 million in his mind, but still, the way he says it makes you think it was a landslide. That's loaded language. He knows what he's doing. It's not that he's lying. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to load the language so people believe him and stop believing the truth.
On everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look.
And why? Why does he even need to go into this when he's talking with President Zelensky about a peace agreement? Why? Think about that. Why does he need to go into this story again? He needs to say it over and over and over again so the American public believes it.
Look at a map. This was a big mandate. And this was one of the things I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war. And
loaded language saying, I'm the savior. He's setting the stage again. He's setting the stage for what's going to happen with Vance, him, and Zelensky in just a few moments.
That would not have been.
Okay, so again, body language doesn't lie, you all. So if you're just joining us, before a break we took, we were looking at his body language where he gave us 6 signs of either uncomfortability or he was lying. And the last of those 6 signs, so I encourage you to go back and watch that, told us what the first 5 signs were actually watching or saying. And so in body language, we're always looking for a cluster of hopefully 3 different tells. It's what the body language tells, to give us an exact read or a close approximate read of what's actually going on. The body doesn't lie, even if the mouth is. So he was talking about wanting to be remembered as a peacekeeper. And he did a lot of shifty, like he was playing with his jacket, sitting back, rocking in his chair. Again, all of that shrugging of the shoulders could be read as, I'm nervous, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like this, I don't know if this is going to be true, that I'll be remembered as a peacekeeping president. But his last of the 6 signs was, this will be a good thing. What am I saying with my head right now? I'm shaking no. And in the very next second, he goes to a much more affirmative, powerful, directive body language. So when you take all of that in together, he knew what he was saying back then. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to interpret that, but I think you know what I'm saying. And we have to watch this closely. But now we're watching his head match his words. So important. So his body knows when he's lying. Okay.
On everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate. And this was one of the things I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war. And that would not.
The head, that would not, right? Head matches the language. That's what we're looking for to ensure that they're telling us the truth. But if the head is saying this and the words are saying yes, it doesn't match the truth. Watch it again.
This is one of the things I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war. And that would not have been a good situation. What was your second question?
My second question is Zelensky.
No.
Why don't you wear a suit?
Why?
You're the highest level.
Watch Trump's body language. I'm not going to comment on it, but just watch it as he's being asked. Side glare. Oh, that was fun to land on.
Why don't you wear a suit?
Why?
Did you see the subtle smile in Trump? The smirk almost. It's almost a smirk. And what did I say about a smirk? A smirk is not good. You see a man smirk at you, women, run the other fucking direction. Trump just did an ever so slightly smirk. Let me see if I can slow it down so you guys can see it. Again, my eyes are more trained to see this. You might not see it the first couple times, but it's there. Okay, hold on. Right there. You see it? Did you see it? He fucking smirked. Trump planted that question. I have no doubt he fucking planted that question. He loved that question. He gave us a little body language tell. The other really interesting thing about this, if you haven't been watching the full time with me, is Trump gives us very little body language. So when he gives us body language, it's real, right? He's very still, which is very, I said at the beginning, a lot of narcissists will either be super big and overbearing in their body language to intimidate you, like they can get really angry and big, right? Because that's a power move, or they're very still because they don't actually have emotional body intelligence. And so Trump is landing on that side right now for most of this meeting. So when he gives us these little clues, we better fucking pay attention. Pardon my language. And then he purses his lips. He kind of breathes in and he purses his lips and he shook his head. Did you catch that? Shakes his head. It's ever so slightly. That's the body language. We're all picking this up. So we're all picking this up, but we don't necessarily know what we're seeing and being able to process it when we're not going into this depth with it, right? So I'm hoping that this helps you get to validate what you're seeing and you're intuitively understanding and why you're seeing and intuitively understanding it this way.
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems.
Smirking.
Really?
Smirking, and he just went back into his power play. That one was a bigger smirk, so it's easier to see.
Yeah, problems.
The left side of his mouth. The left side of his mouth. Watch it, and then watch his steeple. He steeples his hands again, which I keep saying, that's a power move. That's one of our power body language moves.
Yeah, problems.
Smirk.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really? I don't have such. I will wear a costume after this war.
I love that. So Zelensky at this moment still has some fight in him, which is awesome. I think he does all the way to the end, but it gets a little harder to see. I'll wear a costume for you, babe.
But finish? Yes, maybe one. Maybe something like yours, yes. Maybe something better.
I mean, we're talking about people fucking being invaded and their lives being upturned and people dying on the battlefield, and this guy has the nerve to ask about a freaking suit. Get real.
I don't know. We will see. Maybe something cheaper than, yeah. Thank you.
He was not thanking him. Watch that body language again. He shakes his head. Thank you.
Maybe something cheaper than, yeah. Thank you.
Let me slow it down for you. Oh my gosh. You got to give it to this man. He is under attack by these people. Let's see. Nope. Auto quality back. Watch his head.
Something cheaper than, yeah. Thank you.
Nope. On. Turning away, saying thank you. He's not thanking him. We all know it. And that's fine. He should not be thanking him. I'm not after Zelensky. I'm for Zelensky here. Okay. Back to normal speed. I'm having fun now for a moment. A little lighter here. Okay, let's keep going.
Thank you, President. Are you going to send more arms to Ukraine in case there's no peace?
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine. Yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send very much because hopefully we're going to have it finished. We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things.
So we can rape their earth for things that we can build and put all over the world. So then we can lead to something else, right? So he said earlier that he was doing this in order to be able to get AI and weapons from the Ukrainian raw earth. He says raw so funny because we know he talks a little funny. So he can build weaponry and be able to put it in many locations. So yeah, of course he hopes he can get this done fast. And if he can't, then it's Zelensky's fault that WW3 comes along.
But we very much appreciate the agreement because we needed what they had, and we're treating, our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started.
Tact, diplomacy. everything that Vance wants from Zelensky, but our own president can't give it to him?
But, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because.
Okay, so again, he says yes, his head follows. That makes it even more evident that when he said, I hope for these things, or whatever he was saying, when he was saying the positive, he was going negative. That tells me I was reading that situation correctly.
Sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully
The
we
head
won't have
nods
to
yes.
send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that mean you provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you said over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about.
Oh goodness, y'all. Watch his head again. Is he telling the truth? Is his body telling us something else that his language is saying?
I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about.
Security is so easy. Again, some of these are so slight that they're hard to see, and that's why I slow it down for you. Security is so easy. Is it? Or is it not? Oh, okay. I think we might be almost done with this section before we move on to the actual Darvo section.
2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stop shooting.
There he goes again. Security is so easy. He shakes his head no. I'm not going to slow it down because I want to keep.
And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to.
And, my eyes are mostly on Trump right now, but watch Zelensky. He's getting more and more uncomfortable, especially if you watched this from the beginning. If you haven't, go back and watch it with me. Your Wednesday night entertainment, it'll be up as soon as we hit end. You can watch it from the beginning and see the body language crash course and see everything that I'm talking about and really understanding this at a deeper level. But as this has progressed, Zelensky gets more and more jittery and more uncomfortable, which is what they want. And so they know, again, I think Trump and Vance absolutely set the situation up. They knew exactly what they were leading him into. These people, before they come onto this planet, I don't believe in that, but it's like they fucking take a course in this shit. And Vance knew when to attack Zelensky, is my understanding in this situation as I watch this more and more. So watch Zelensky, he's getting more uncomfortable, and then we're getting more body language. Trump was super still in the beginning, and we're getting more body language from him as things get more heated.
I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably, we have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product in this country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to.
Little shake of his head again. Okay, I'm not going to keep stopping it because I do want to get through this. But watch his head. Watch Trump's head again as he's speaking. It's a little shake no when he's saying.
I think once this deal gets done, it's over.
Nope.
Russia's.
Let me slow it down a little bit more. You guys need to leave me comments to let me know if you're seeing this, if I'm just beating a dead horse here. All right, watch his head.
Deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back. Well done, it's over.
So slight.
Russia's not going to.
Trump says the positive, but he's shaking his head no. Zelensky's shaking his head no because he absolutely knows he's telling the lie at this point. He knows where this is going. It's going nowhere good.
Want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back. When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over. Question? Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead. Please.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
President, thank you.
Thank you.
Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction
I love this guy.
This guy must be, he asked where he's from in a second here. Totally love bombing on Trump. Totally love bombing on Trump. So no wonder Trump says, I love this guy. You know, throw me the right type of question, media. Don't be hard on me. He's asking, where did he get the moral conviction? Something along those lines.
Who are you with? One American News. Well,
One American News. I don't know anything about them, but obviously they're very Trump supporters.
Why I like him. One American News does a great job. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace.
All right, watch Zelensky. He's getting really uncomfortable. Watch his mouth, watch his hands, watch his body language.
Well, that's why I like him. One American News does a great job. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway to getting something solved. And I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus, we're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement, because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October.
So his head's completely still there. I don't see a yes or a no. Let's slow it down. He's saying we shouldn't have gotten involved. It shouldn't have happened. Playback speed.
We're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement.
No
there should have been no
natural
war.
turning of the head. No movement. Again, that tells me that I'm reading that first situation accurately. Your body language cannot lie. I mean, I shared I see this now everywhere with actors who should be able to match their body language with what they're saying. And you will notice so many times, they'll shake their head ever so slightly as they're saying yes to something. It might not be the actual word yes, but even actors can't get that one right. If they are fully in the moment, their bodies are telling you that they're acting.
Couldn't have been October 7th. That would have never happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money to give to Hamas. They were stone cold broke. And then under Biden, they became rich as hell. They went from no money.
Loaded language. He keeps throwing Biden under the bus. This is our own country. And he's throwing, of course he is. I just don't imagine other presidents. Again, I've been tuned out for 12 years because of my story. You can tune into my testimony when I share that in a couple months. But I just can't imagine, especially if you think back to Eisenhower and Churchill, these, great men. I don't know how great they were, but they would have never thrown their own country under the bus like this. So it's loaded language in this situation. Again, he's got the steeple grip. He's taking up space. All of these are power body moves.
To $300 billion in a period of 4 years. And they gave a lot of that money away. And you see what happened. And that's a real mess also that we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much.
Again, his head shakes yes when he's appreciative.
I feel I have an obligation to try and do something to stop the death.
Let's look at that again in slow motion. Do something to stop the death is what he was saying. Let's see if we pick up anything there.
I feel I have an obligation to try and do something to stop the death.
Yeah, nothing. He purses his lips right after that. Again, pursed lips means he's trying to hold something back that he really wants. It's like biting the tongue. That phrase comes from that. Again, narcissist, what I keep saying, narcissist, dark personalities, oftentimes when there's no positive emotion to be felt, they don't show a lot of emotion. Their body doesn't react because they only have intellectual or what's called cognitive empathy. They don't have body language empathy. So I think that's what we're seeing here. Let's take this back up to normal speed.
If I can answer. Yes, if I can answer.
Please,
sorry. Please.
And I do like you.
All right, see, he used his head to get his point across. He's not able to do that here in a couple minutes when we watch the Darvo section. So he's using his head and being very affirmative. I like that body language. I wish he
If I can answer, yes, if I
nods his head. That's a power move.
can answer,
Please,
sorry,
go ahead.
please.
Uses his voice. He uses that head saying, hey, let me give me a second here.
Please.
And I do like your clothing, though.
Yeah, really?
Oh, I do like your clothing. Let's see what let's see what Trump's language is when
I
he
can answer,
Please,
sorry,
go ahead.
please, please.
And I do like your clothing, though.
Yeah, really?
I don't really see much there. Let me put it in slow down speed.
Even though I do like your clothing, though.
Yeah, really?
Even though I have to, I think he's
Yeah.
a great guy, by the way.
Okay, so I think he's a great guy. So he goes right into, that's a dig. That's a fucking dig. And we know it. He doesn't like his clothing. That is a complete dig movement.
But I don't know if you two like each other, but you know what? I think
No,
he's
no,
dressed. I think he's
why?
dressed.
I like-
And notice how Zelensky was trying to answer a question and Trump just totally took over the moment. Totally took over the moment. And now it's all about Trump. Let the attention be on the narcissist.
This guy, I don't know.
I think
him.
he's dressed beautiful.
So I have more. I have more.
That was a smirk. So what did I say between the difference between a smirk and a smile? If he smirks at you, ladies, run the other direction. It's not what you think it is. It is not good.
But I don't know if you two like each other, but you know what? I think
No,
he's
no,
dressed. I think he's
why?
dressed
I like
beautiful.
this guy. I don't.
I
know
think
him.
he's dressed beautiful.
So I have
Right there. The left side of his mouth goes up, not the right side. That's a fucking smirk. You know he's lying. We know he is, but I just want to show you the body language to prove it. So you know what you're seeing.
more. I have more.
Smirk gets bigger.
I think he's
Why? I
dressed
like
beautiful.
this guy. I don't. Know
I think
him.
he's dressed beautiful.
So I have more.
Look how big that smirk is. Oh gosh, makes me sick.
I have more serious things than answer on such
Yes,
questions.
exactly.
I will answer on more serious
That's a good
questions if
statement.
I can.
Yes.
Yeah. So please, about security.
Exactly. He's like, fucking shut up, Trump. Give me the floor here. And look, I just stopped again. He's smirking. He's smirking because he knows he's getting at Zelensky. He knows he's agitating. Oh my gosh. If they can't get love bombing from you, y'all, they're going to turn into this monster of, pushing you. Because when you react to a dark personality, it gives them the same hit as if you're love bombing. It's getting you out of your center, out of your power, and into their world where they can control and manipulate you. And he knows he's got Zelensky here.
Security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will not never work because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency, from the 2014, Putin
He goes back to a steeple grip. Again, a sign of power.
broken 25 times. 25 times he broke.
And the stillness. So in alpha language, there are some studies that show, again, I keep saying a lot of narcissists and dark personalities don't display a lot of positive, especially body language, but we gravitate to people that are able to control their emotions. So we gravitate towards narcissists, essentially. That's what he's displaying. That is more of an alpha move. So again, I don't think Trump is dumb. I don't think he's not educated in this stuff. I do think he is. And I think we're seeing that in his body language so clearly.
His own signature. 25 times he broke a ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never.
But he never broke to Trump. Again, more loaded language.
No, you were the president. You were the president
He never broke to me.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he.
So this is where it really starts to build. All right, we're just going to watch a few more minutes here, and then we'll jump to the Darvo. I know I keep saying that, but this is so rich of body language. I hope you're learning a lot.
He had, of course, not with you, but he had during those periods, he had conversations with our side. And we had Normandy format, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. And he broke.
See, again, I keep telling you, if he gives us body language, we need to pay attention to it. Watch Trump here. What is he
Huge.
doing?
But he had, during those periods, he had conversations with our side. And we had Normandy format, you know, the France, Germany, Ukraine.
Works over to the side. That's almost like a side smirk with a pursed lips.
Ukraine and Russia. And he broken 25 times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire.
To me, that just means he doesn't like what he's hearing from Zelensky. Again, you know this. Now I'm just giving you the affirmation of why you know this.
It will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend.
So think about it again. He was shifting earlier and just doing one. When he does two, that's a power move. It's like a man putting on his jacket, right? That's a fucking power move. And he's got his lips lips pursed again. He wants to say something. He's about to butt in.
Our lad. Today, you know,
he's waiting for his time.
We have all the world knows that we have meeting. Yes, why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and it says ballistic. So he knows that we are here and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So
okay, so again, we're about to jump into the Darvo moment where the calculated attack on Zelensky for not being appreciative enough of the US is about to happen. And here again, we're 20 minutes into this conversation, 22 minutes in, he's still thanking the US. He's still thanking the US. But it's not enough.
So he doesn't want.
It's not enough because narcissists and dark personalities continue to change the goalposts.
To stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security, when we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingent.
Trump just licked his lips. He really wants to say something.
Strong contingents from the Europeans because they don't want to divide alliance connection between the United States and the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial. This is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all the systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us, you know? It's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks.
Trump gives us a little rock. What does a rock usually mean? So it can mean I'm getting bored. I need to move. I need to shift. But we know a narcissist doesn't move a lot. So we got to pay attention to it. So I'm talking out loud as I'm feeling into what does that mean? He's got a little bit of lips pursed. Again, we don't know if that's just his resting bitch face that he has. That's literally what it's called. It's a real thing. His hands go from a power move.
He hates us, you know? It's not about me. He hates Ukrainians.
He swallows. So he's uncomfortable there. He's uncomfortable for a reason.
He thinks that we are not a nation.
Again, if you haven't been with me the whole 2 hours almost, 2.5 hours that we've been doing this, oh my gosh. We're looking for a cluster of 3 body language tells. That's what they're called, in order to be able to really make a discerning judgment call on what he's saying. So he's leaning back and forth. He licked his lips. He's sighing. What else was he doing?
He thinks, and he shared this.
Tells me he's nervous
maybe with your team also. I don't know, but with all the Europeans in media, officially and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, and such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants to destroy us.
Look how still Trump is as he's talking about how Putin wants to destroy his country.
Life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the
little bit of a rock.
He wants to destroy us.
So still.
And you are right, Mr. President. That's 2%. This document, maybe other documents.
The only thing that's moving on his body is his maybe eyelids and his fingers back and forth. Again, it can be a display of power if you're not moving a lot. You know, he's not engaged in the empathy for Ukraine. That is evident.
It's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Mr. President, may I one more question, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
I asked President
They have to.
I mean, to me, Trump just looks fucking bored.
this question.
This is the rule. This is the rule of the war. This is the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay. This is.
All right. That is a rule of war in this world. Look how bored he looks. He just looks absolutely freaking bored.
War. This is the rule of the war.
Blank. No, I would say he looks more bored than blank.
During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay. This is the rule. Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have.
So again, super still. I'm looking for any type of, you know, head shaking from Trump to tell us that that's not what he believes. It's a good sign that he's not shaking his head no in this situation to what Zelensky's saying right here. So that makes me breathe a little easier. But the fact that he's so still is just alarming to me. It's super alarming.
In Europe, about 300.
So there is a little bit of a pursed lips, but we also know what's coming in about 15 minutes, not even 15 minutes in this conversation. The Darvo starts about 42 minutes in.
Billions, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do it, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know.
Go ahead, please. Wait 1 second.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and
Yes,
Ukraine or on the Ukraine side.
No, I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved.
So I made a TikTok about this. I mean, even President Bush said this, we don't side with terrorists. And essentially that's what Russia's doing. Like, you don't come in as a neutral party when there's a narcissist at play here. But because he's a narcissist or a dark personality, Trump's trying to come in neutral. And that actually gives the attacker more power in this situation if you understand energy dynamics and power plays. So Putin has more power in this situation than he would really if Trump came in supporting Ukraine. That would give Putin less power, essentially. But now that he's coming in neutral, that gives Putin more power. It's kind of this weird dynamic, but I hope you can see that.
And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but I want to.
I'm such a good guy now. I don't grab women by their, I don't take money from the American public. I don't not pay my tax bills. I'm such a moral guy that I don't speak badly about anyone. We've got to put all this language together with what he's saying to understand. I know we all do that's probably watching this, but just have to say it.
Get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen.
Loaded
But
language.
I want to see it get solved.
We know what he's pointing to there. WW3.
May I follow up? One more question about U.S. troops in Europe.
Okay. We're going to stop there for a second again, and we're going to fast forward to, let's do our exercise here. So if you're just joining us, this is a somatic exercise to help regulate the nervous system. If you take your thumbs and just kind of pound them against that bump right there on your chest, that's going to hit your vagus nerve, and it's going to help adjust your breathing, which is going to slow down your heart rate. Right there for me, that's one. Ooh, we're almost done, y'all. 2.5 hours in. Wow. I know people go really long on lives. I did not expect to go this long. But you're worth it. You're worth it to share this information. If you're enjoying it, please share it. Please share it. Please share it. It's so vital that people get this information out there. All right, we're going to fast forward and use a different cut that I found to be able to see Vance's body language better. Again, if you need to pause, if you need to step away, this is where the Darvo really starts to happen and it really starts to get fiery. And if you've been with me for the first 2.5 hours as we've been building this, understanding what body language is, understanding the different tactics, we went and looked at the language, the definitions of things like Darvo, gaslighting, language, loaded language. What else did we look at? Blame shifting. We didn't look at the definitions of all of that, but I'm going to share that. You can see how this thing was building. And it's, I mean, as an observer, it's really helpful for me to be able to see this because I lived this. I lived this for the first 34 years of my life in many different situations, and continue to live it, right? We all live in it right now. But it's really good to see how they set the stage in order to knock Zelensky off of his own center and get them to play his fight instead of saying in Zelensky's own world, right? They it's like a tug of war. They just pulled Zelensky little by little, and now they're going to give him one last final pull on that rope to get Zelensky totally off center, and it goes nowhere. And they set this up. I have no doubt that they fucking set this up to be this way. All right, you ready for this? So let's stop screen sharing that one and we start to share a different one. Share. Add to stage. Okay. So, I mean, right away, as we look at this, Trump looks disinterested again from this angle. Both Zelensky and Vance are completely engaged. If you're looking at this from a power play, Vance has more power right now. He's forward, but yet also sitting way back in that couch. He's taking up more space. Zelensky is forward, but taking up less space and getting pulled into this energy field right here. Right there, y'all. All right, let's jump in. Let's see how quickly we can do this.
But he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What you have?
Okay, so it's very important to also pay attention to what they're talking about and how quickly they start the Darvo attack. So again, Darvo means either deflect or deny. I think the official one is deny. I'm using deflect because that's what he's doing here. Attack, and then you reverse victim and oppressor, or what's the other word for that? The person you're trying to put under, right? Like the oppressor, right? I'm just going to use that word. So it starts here at 12 seconds in. We have 5 more seconds and it's going to start, and it doesn't stop. It's just a full-on fucking Darvo attack.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end.
Sorry, I have it on a lower setting. So we're going to take it back down for a couple times, but let's just start.
The destruction of your country.
Yes.
So he's talking about the destruction of his country.
But if you are not strong.
So right there, that's where it starts. It's all civil, and then Vance throws up his hands saying, back off, dude. I'm going to take the stage here. He interrupts him. He starts escalating his voice. These are all control manipulative tactics. He knows what he's doing. And it's important to understand what he's doing here, because later on, Trump's going to be like, he's not raising his voice, but he did right here.
Talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction.
And he does this thing. I know other politicians do this. This is a minimizing. If I think about what this means, I'm minimizing you when I do this. I'm telling you to stand down, that you are nothing, that you don't need to, that you're not as good as me. It's a minimizing hand gesture. And then look at what Zelensky is completely closed off at this point. That's a closed off body language. It drives me crazy when I see real estate agents take pictures like this, because this says, I'm closed off to doing business with you. It doesn't say I'm open. This says I'm open to doing business. This says I'm open to doing business. But this means I'm protecting my most vital organs. Back off. I'm not feeling safe. I am stopping this conversation the best I can. I'm stopping this, right? That's what this body language is saying. And then you look at Trump. He's a little bit more leaned in, but he's still sitting back in that chair and his fingertips are like this. Oh my gosh, this is going to take forever. There's so much body language in this part.
Of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not.
President.
So again, the reason Vance is able to interrupt him is because we've already lost Zelensky's powerful body language that he was displaying. His knees are actually even skinnier now than they were, like, so they're a little bit closer in. Again, you want to convey power, you got to be bigger. You got to take up more space. Zelensky's getting smaller. His legs are getting narrower. He's closing in. He doesn't feel safe. Where he was able to interrupt the media from continuing on before he had a chance, you know, the firm nod that I was talking about. Now he's not able to stop the attack that Vance, sorry, I forgot his name for a second, just threw at him. The first Darvo. This is the first Darvo right here. So again, to deflect or deny, attack, reverse victim, and oppressor.
Mr. President, with respect.
With respect. Right? That's not respect. That's not respectful language. I mean, that means stop your horses. Calm down. You are being an emotional little kid. Let me be the parent here.
I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
Okay. Did you catch that? They're talking about diplomacy and what diplomacy the US is actually doing. And you've already probably lost that train of thought because he just deflected it. He just denied it by deflecting it and moving right into attacking him for coming into the Oval Office and trying to do this in front of the American public. See how that works? So beautifully mastered. We didn't even catch it if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thinking.
Again, now we go into the reverse victim and oppressor. Now America and Trump becomes the victim and Zelensky's the oppressor, essentially, right? I mean, not necessarily the right word, but that's the modality here. He's saying, and the goalpost has changed. So they've set the stage. All of a sudden, boom, the ground has been removed from Zelensky completely by this point. He is in this defensive body language. He's feeling uncomfortable. He's feeling shut down. And they go in for the attack. They know they have it here. And they're going to make him the one to blame. They're going to make him the oppressor in this situation. They're going to make him the one that is to blame if we go to WW3.
The president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine? Did you say?
So, yeah, I'm just so sad for his body language there. I get it, Zelensky, but this is hard. This is, if well-trained politicians can't stand up to this Darvo that has been happening for an hour now, like, just give yourself grace if you've had this in your relationship. That's all I'm going to say.
What problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
Okay, so now we're stepping into the second Darvo. Zelensky asks him if he's ever been to Ukraine, and he pauses right there. Vance pauses right there in order to collect his thoughts, in order to figure out how to deflect this question and go into the second Darvo.
I've actually watched.
Again, belittling. I'm putting you in your place. That's what that is saying.
And seen the stories, and I know what happened.
Right? So he just deflected. He's now going on the attack.
Happens is you bring them on a propaganda.
And you know what? His body language actually is telling us that he doesn't believe what he's saying. Let's back that up a second. You take people on a propaganda tour, but
I know what happens is you bring people.
So again, you gotta, like, that is the best body language tell we can ever find to understand if people are lying or not, right? Vance doesn't even believe what the fuck he's saying about Zelensky right now. And Zelensky knows it. He's pissed. But because people don't study body language, Vance is able to convince the public, maybe not, I don't know, that this is what Zelensky does. But his body language is telling us he doesn't believe what he's saying. He doesn't believe that Zelensky takes him on propaganda tours, but he's saying it. Let's watch
the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President.
He keeps shaking his head, and he uses Mr. President as like a total, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm losing my words now. This has been so long. What's the word I'm looking for? If you know the word I'm looking for, please put it in the comments. Okay.
Do you disagree that you?
Okay. So now, again, another Darvo almost. Zelensky went from asking him if he's ever been to Ukraine. Vance deflected the question, said it was propaganda, and now he's going to make Zelensky, I'm putting their names together, seem like the attacker. Have you ever, let's finish the question.
You've had problems bringing people into your military?
Have we had problems bringing them into the military? All right, let's put it back up.
And do you think that it's respectful?
I will answer.
Oh. Listen to his tone. Again, body language, 93% of what we're looking at here. Tone, so important. Vance steps in and he is the fucking father, of this situation. He is the one really running this meeting behind Trump for a second, at least.
Bringing people into your military?
And
do you think that it's respectful?
Oh, did you hear that? How mean that came across? I mean, I know you guys all heard that, but now I'm giving you the permission to understand what you're hearing and the validation to trust it, the actual factual information here, to trust what you're hearing and seeing.
To come to the Oval Office of the United States of America.
Again, his voice is raising. It's getting more and more impactful, which is important to note because something comes up in a few minutes where they're telling Zelensky to lower his voice.
America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country.
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war.
All right. So give me a second here. Where are we? We're at 1. Okay. Yeah. So that was 3 Darbos, right? So the first one was about diplomacy. The second one was also gaslighting. And it was about, have you ever been to Ukraine, and how he turned that around back onto Zelensky. And do you think you're respectful? So that's the third one we're in. And we're about to jump into the 4th Darvo attack.
Everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will.
Okay. So So I think I said this earlier that we were going to get into this, right? As an emotional intelligence educator, Trump doesn't know what he's using here. He doesn't understand the principle of don't tell us what to feel. That's not what Zelensky's saying. And it might come across differently because he is not a traditional, or first language is English, right? He says, okay, let's continue to watch and then I'll stop.
Feel it in the future. God bless.
Don't tell us what to feel. So again, I believe this was completely staged by both of these people. They knew what they were doing. They pulled Zelensky in. Just look at the body language in the room. These 2 men are on the attack. There's a power move from Trump with this. He's sitting forward, but taking up a lot of space. Same with Vance. He's very firm in his body language, whereas Zelensky is like this, right? And now Trump's going to go in for another kill. Don't tell us how to feel. And that's not, Zelensky's not telling them how to feel. He's just saying, you're going to, like, the fact that you're an ocean across from the US, or from the Europe nations isn't going to protect you in the future, right? So you're probably going to receive the repercussions of being in a World War III. That's what he's saying. But Trump takes it as like, my ego can't stand that. So we're going to feel great about being in this World War III. That's what he's saying.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Okay, hold on. There was another section. Maybe that's later. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. There was one where Trump actually pushes Zelensky, and I hope I can catch it again. My notes are, I can't read my handwriting, y'all. That's so sad.
Don't tell us what we're going to.
So again, the only body language that dark personalities can really give you is like when they're angry or upset, or, they want to come across as really bossy, mean, and authoritative.
We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us.
So again, this is very parental to child. He's trying to put him in the child role, and he's doing a goddamn good job at it, unfortunately.
What we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this. You're in no position to.
Yeah. So again, that's really the fourth Darvo. You're not in a position, right? He was saying you're going to feel the repercussions of being in a WW3, and he deflects it and denies it, and then he jumps into attacking him. You're in no position. That's the attack. That's the reversing victim and oppressor.
Dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not.
Exactly. So kudos to him. He is coming back here a little bit. He's uncrossed his arms. I like that. And he's clarifying as a non-native English speaker what he meant. You're going to feel the influence of all of this, not personally feel it. That's not what he was saying. And he clarified that.
In a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position.
So they keep raising their voices because they're trying to be the parent. And what is a parent over a child? It's the dominator position. It's the one in power. And look at his body language. He's sitting way back now. His legs are completely spread. Oh, God, sorry, guys. His hands are, far. If he was feeling more nervous, his hands would be closer into his center of his body, but he's not. He's in a very powerful body language move for being able to sit down, and says it all. He's determined. He knows he's got Zelensky. He is not letting him off the hook.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't.
And then he gives us that little Zelensky give up. If you watch Vance, he rubs his leg and kind of shakes his
You don't
head.
have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of. You don't have the cards to be right about.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards.
Oh God, this is like watching my two kids argue. Okay, we're gonna keep going. I really want to see where he pushes him.
You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with world.
Right there, y'all. He drops the bomb. He set the stage this whole meeting talking about WW3 happening, and now he just completely Darvos this whole situation so he can put it and pin it on Zelensky and never take responsibility that he wants this thing, that he is pursuing this thing, potentially. I'm not saying for sure, but this is what the body language is telling me. And he has just flipped this whole situation and made Zelensky the scapegoat in this situation. He's blame shifting. That way people have it in their minds. It's already planted in their minds that this is what's going to happen if it happens, when it happens.
World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing.
God, doesn't that just feel like you're in a parent-child situation right there? Like Zelensky can't get anything in. It's just all Trump.
World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
And this is something dark personalities do all the time. I didn't explain it like this. You're making me angry. Stop that behavior, because if I blow my top, it's all your fault. That's what this is, right? Instead of, I'm feeling angry right now. I need to take a moment to calm myself down. Can you please take a moment and think about what you're doing that's maybe aggravating the situation? And we can come back together in a few. I know you can't do this in the political Oval Office situation, but you probably can if you're trained in emotional intelligence. But he doesn't want to be. Trump wants this to go this direction. He wants to blame shift and put the responsibility on everybody else for what he wants to do. Do you see what I'm saying there? It's so sly, and this is what dark personalities do all the frickin' time.
And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the.
So he has completely flipped the script. Zelensky has now become the person oppressing the U.S., and he has made Trump and Vance the victim of all of this.
This country, that's
with
back
all
to you
respect to your
far
country.
more than a lot of people said they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
Have you said thank you once? How many times have I stopped this to point out, and we didn't even watch like 12 minutes of this, how many times has Zelensky said thank you, has said, yes, the U.S. is on our side? This is the goalpost shifting. We just shifted it again. And that's, and it's another Darvo attack. It's another deflection and denial of what's happening in this situation. They know they have Zelensky by the, and they're just, yeah.
This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you?
Today.
You went to Pennsylvania.
That tie move, again, another power move. Another power move. He's leaning in. He's engaging. He's saying, I'm in here for this fight and I'm going to fucking win it.
And campaign for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America.
And he's not letting Zelensky speak at all. And that's what narcissists do. They keep shutting you down so you can't get any words out and you feel like you're fucking losing your mind. And that's part of the gaslighting. That's part of the crazy making that they do.
And the president who's trying to save your country.
The savior. You're making us the savior, the victim. We're the victims of your oppression now. That's what Darvo does.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the...
Okay. I've already pointed out how many times these men have raised their voices. Zelensky is trying to keep it more level-headed, which is actually a power move. But it's not working with these two men because we know it doesn't work with these two men. You can't really do much with narcissists and dark personalities. It just doesn't work. You have to shut them down the best you can, and trying to speak to them like they're normal, level-headed, empathetic people doesn't work because they're not.
He's not speaking loudly.
He's not speaking loudly. See? But he so is. He interrupted him. He put his hands out to stop him because he's a little emotional kid, where he's the president, he's the vice president. They're the ones in power. They're their parents.
Speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I answer?
No, here it is. Here it is. We're going to slow this down. This is where he actually pushes Zelensky. Such a fucking bully move right here. Watch this. Watch right here. You're going to see it.
You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I think this is it.
I know.
You're not winning.
No.
You're not winning this.
You're not winning this. Is that a little foretelling?
You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of
Okay, sorry, it's a little bit later. Hold on. Let's speed it up. I just found it in my notes. Okay.
We are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet, and not only in this cabinet.
We gave you through this.
Trump's getting a little closer into touching him. It's about coming up here in a couple seconds.
Stupid president.
Okay. Again, where is the frickin' tact and diplomacy coming from Trump talking about our own country?
Thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet, and not only in this cabinet.
We gave you through this stupid president.
Through the stupid president. Come on. That's not diplomacy. That's not tact. That's not respectful. No matter what you think of Biden, who had a better job approval rating than you do, you don't call the past president stupid. You just don't. Not on public stage, not as a president yourself. That is not okay. He knows exactly what he's doing, though. Don't let him fool you.
$350 billion.
Here it comes. I'm going to slow this down.
We gave you military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our...
Look at that. He pushes him. He fucking pushes him. What freaking grown adult man that's gotten into public office to run this country pushes another adult man in the Oval Office, you all? Pisses me off.
Our military.
What about this?
If you
right
didn't
here.
have
Pushes him. How old are you? How old are you? Come on. Again, I say this full well knowing he knows what he's doing. He knows what he is doing, you all, and he's doing it very well right in front of our eyes. I wonder how many people besides him and Zelensky actually caught that Trump crossed over into his personal space and frickin' touched him. He touched him. Not only touched him, he pushed him.
Military equipment.
If
you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days.
So now, have you noticed the lip pursing is no longer happening because these men are saying what they wanted to say. And that's good, right? We got to get this out. I wish they would have done it as more adult grown men. It's hard to do that. It's hard to stay an adult if someone's trying to put you in the child role. That's super hard. That's a super hard dynamic. And that's what's happening here. But of course, Trump has taken the power move of being a parent in that parent dynamic, but yet still acting like a freaking bully on the playground, pushing the people around that he doesn't like.
Maybe
physically pushing them.
Of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Yeah. So again, it's going to be very hard to keep my temper if you don't do what I want you to do. That's what he's saying here. He's blame shifting onto Zelensky, making it all Zelensky's fault because he has no emotional toolbox of his own. And so it can't be his fault. He can't take the responsibility for his actions.
I tell you.
Say thank you.
I said a lot of times thank you to American.
Another Darvo, another making them the victim.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know.
I mean, I don't know. I know people are saying this. I'm going to say this. I have never said this on this channel. Vance scares me more because he understands this even better than Trump. He's a better body language speaker. He's more authoritative with his body language, and it convinces more people. He totally terrified me at the vice president debate because he was so smooth. And it's harder to see through somebody that is that smooth, right? So watch what happens next.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on over there. I think it's very important. That's
so the power dynamic just shifted between Trump and Vance. Again, that doesn't happen unless they've talked about this. Vance, for the last 2 or 3 minutes, I would say almost, has been more of the president in this situation, more of the real parent, the grandparent, if you will. And Trump's taken a back seat to a lot of this. And now they just shifted it back to Trump to give it off to Trump. So again, I think this was completely premeditated and planned.
why I kept this going so long.
Why I let this keep, now I'm able to take responsibility because I want everybody to see how poorly this person is handling themselves in my Oval Office and how much of a victim I am to their oppression.
You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards.
Again, that's a fucking parent thing to say. You don't say that as a diplomat in a president situation to another president of another country. I just don't think you say that. I don't know. Maybe I don't know politics that well, but I don't think you play the parent role to a country who's been invaded by another country that you really want to help and get out of not having World War III.
You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers.
It won't let Zelensky have a voice here.
It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I
mean, I don't think I have to tell you what that body language is saying from Trump. I mean, it's just saying, I'm a kid. I don't know how to handle this. I'm going to pretend everybody else is a kid along with me.
It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this.
No, Trump, you're the only kid besides Vance, because they're both emotionally and competent, really. They are not emotionally competent men.
Look,
they're great at manipulating, so they feel like they're emotionally competent men. And we tend to gravitate towards alphas, and they are portraying themselves as alphas, but they're not true alphas. They've learned how to portray themselves as true.
You can get a ceasefire right now. I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire.
Okay, I didn't watch 12 minutes of this, but I never heard him say he doesn't want a ceasefire. So again, he's putting words in his mouth.
Ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me. That wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave.
That was with Obama. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelin.
Did you see his language? Oh, yes, you did. Trump gave you javelins. I gave you.
That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets.
So another observation, Vance would not be this calm right now if this hadn't been pre-planned, because two people portraying themselves as alphas, as narcissists, which makes me, again, more scared of Vance than I am of Trump. If they hadn't pre-planned that, then they would almost be fighting each other, right? They'd almost be fighting each other to make their points, and they're not. They are tag teaming very well together.
In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins.
I've never heard that one. Have you? Again, loaded language, telling people what to think and believe about history.
You got to be more thankful.
Yeah, you better not upset me, or else we're gonna get a divorce. It's gonna be all your fault if you keep pushing my buttons, because I have no responsibility for my own emotions here or my own actions. You can see how pissed Zelensky is here. And then look at Vance. He's almost laughing. Look at that. He's almost fucking laughing right now, because they know they have it. They know they have whatever they wanted in this Oval Office. They got it.
Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
Oh my gosh, do I have to say it again? He's trying to make himself the parent, because a parent has more control over a situation than a child. It's a power dynamic. It is absolutely a power dynamic that Zelensky, unfortunately, fell right into.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay.
I mean, what kind of an analogy is that? Especially coming from the president of the largest military in the world.
What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden, because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me.
I can't.
Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a...
Again, I said this at almost the very beginning of the last 3 hours. He sounds like an immature little kid talking, but it's very purposeful. I guarantee it. He has trained himself how to talk like this, because it makes you, this is just coming to me, it makes you discredit him. It makes you believe that he's not really truthful. He's not really saying what he really believes, and that you can't take anything he says as being truthful. That's probably what that is.
That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff.
Look at Vance here. He looks so pissed. And again, one hand a little bit further back, if you think about it, that's it's not fully out, which would be more of a power move, but he's getting close to a super big power move over here. Vance is.
Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go.
Way to throw it all under the bus. Oh, shoot. Hold on, y'all. Was that it? That was it?
Tired of fleeting health fads and endless supplement stacks? Break free with Armra Colostrum. With more than...
All right.
Sign the exchange of prisoners.
Ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had...
Okay, that was it. 3 hours and 4 minutes. Oh my gosh, you all. For whoever's been on with me, I don't know if you're the same person, but thank you for keeping me company. How are we feeling after watching that? If you want to drop me a comment, the one person that's on here, if you've been on the majority of the time with me, again, this is a big one. If you're watching right here at the end, I encourage you to go back and watch the beginning, where I do a crash course in what we're looking for when we're looking at body language. I don't actually go into the body language until we go into the Oval Office. and a crash course on the different types of tactics that narcissists and dark personalities use. So that's really important to understand what we just saw. And then, of course, we go in, and the majority of this is breaking this down. So, woo! It took me almost 2 weeks to do it, a week and a half, but we did it. There was a lot in there. So get your feet on the ground, go for a walk, get some fresh air after you watch this. If you're watching the replay, thank you. I think this is really important for people to see. So please, please, please share this. Let people know that it's here on Deconstructing Patriarchy. And let's get the word out there that we have to be better at watching this language. We have to be better at understanding what our intuition is seeing with the real validation that we're seeing accurately, if that makes sense. So, yeah. I'm going to change the title of this for sure, because we saw clearly that Trump was not believing what he was saying about wanting to be a peacekeeping president. So if you're just watching this at the end, that was probably about halfway through, about an hour and a half to somewhere between an hour and a half and an hour, 45 minutes in. It's very clear to me the more we watch Trump that that's exactly what his body language was saying, and I really broke it down. And I think I'm going to leave it there for now. All right, y'all. Take good care of yourself. Just a little note, if you did make it all the way to the end, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bells. I will not be doing a live next week because I will be traveling, and I might start pushing these lives maybe once or twice a month, just until we build the attendance a little bit more. And I settle for the summer where I'm going to settle. I'm going to be like a bit of a nomad here for a couple months probably. So it might just make sure that you are subscribed and hit the bell, and then you'll get notified of when the lives are up. All right. If you have questions, if you made it this far, drop them in the comments. I am definitely checking all my questions and trying to answer them for people. I'm still small enough that I can do that. I'm kind of not nervous or scared or fearful, but I'm excited to grow and get this information out there, the education out there. Again, this is not about me. It's about this education. But I'm also, it gets harder to manage as people find us more. So if you want your questions answered, now is the time, because I might not get to them when we grow bigger here. All right. So much love. Take good care of yourself. Bye.